Hey, I'm FTFE, and welcome back to the channel that fills stupidity's Christmas stockings with poisonous scorpion, breaks stupidity's kneecaps first so it can't escape, and I can take my time. I was pretty sure he forgot to turn the gas stove off in stupidity's kitchen. Hold a pillow on the face of stupidity until it stops struggling. Shh, just stop struggling. Just let it happen. Stop struggling. It's nearly over. That ties stupidity up in the basement for 2 weeks and 2 weeks. Oh shit, hold, I'll be right back.
Two hours later.
Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah, so it turns out if you leave stupid tied up for 2 weeks with no food or water, it doesn't survive. Today, for this special 50th episode, we're going to take a look at the absolute dumbest things flat earthers have ever said. However, that is a Herculean task because, you know, pretty much all of what they say is incredibly fucking dumb compared to the normal standards of human intelligence. So NASA allowed me to draft in some backup from the biggest and best flat earth destroyers in the world. You thought Endgame was an ambitious crossover? Nah, you ain't seen nothing yet. Watch as me and the worst looking boy band you've ever seen copy Thanos and snap Flat Earth out of existence for episode 50 of Flerfs Are Idiots. Oh wait, no, I did that wrong. Oh crap, no, not again.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Thank you for joining me once again as we wonder how flat earthers eat breakfast without accidentally digging their eyes out with the spoon. There are so many dumb things that flat earthers have said that it's honestly hard to decide which is the dumbest. But I'm going to start with one of the most moronic members of society I've ever spoken to. He's really thick, yet claims to be a physicist, a biochemist, a research scientist, a modified sniper, a teacher, a medic, a virologist, a master of science, a filmmaker, a documentary maker, a VFX artist, a cinematographer, a director, an executive producer, a graphic designer, a video editor, a videographer, a photo forensic expert, a photographer, a mortarman, a philosopher, a theologian, an actor, a dancer, a singer, a studier of languages, a web designer, a writer, a chef, a professional gardener, and claims to have single-handedly debunked Newton and Einstein. Is JM truth?
Now that I think about it, the sun, we're told, is a big gaseous ball burning in space in a vacuum. By the way, since we're on the subject of vacuums, fire, the element by which the sun exerts its energy, and I don't care if it's nuclear fission or what, it's still fire, needs what element, folks, in order to continue to burn? Oxygen.
Now, of course, that is laughably wrong on so many levels. The sun isn't on fire, it's a nearly perfect sphere of mostly plasma, 91% of which is hydrogen, under such incredible pressures from its own mass due to gravity that the centre undergoes nuclear fusion, converts hydrogen to helium, and releases incredible amounts of energy. This does not require oxygen, because plasma is not fire. However, about 0.97% of the star's mass is made up of oxygen. But JM's comical ignorance of anything physics isn't the dumbest thing here. I mean, it's pretty fucking dumb, but here's the kicker. In a live stream that he was on with Team Skeptic and I, he told me that taking his video, adding the clown face and the music, was defacing his personal property and he could have sued me for vandalism. Looks like someone's been getting his legal advice from Sleeping Warrior. Okay, over to the first of the amazing creators helping me take on this mammoth task of quantifying flat earth stupidity. He is one of the first creators I ever collaborated with, way back when I was skinny. He lives by some whales or something. I don't know, I can't understand a bloody word he says. It's the Creaky Blinder.
Episode 50. 50 of Flerfs are idiots? Well, I never. And I promise I won't mention that for some reason there's already 55 videos in that playlist, but it doesn't matter anyway. It seems like only the other day you invited me to participate in episode 3 of Flerfs are idiots, where we talked about allegedly Dave drinking his own wee-wee.
Well, I've been drinking urine now for...
Drinking urine. But today we're not going to be talking about anybody's wee-wee or drinking thereof said wee-wee. Today we are going to be talking about everybody's favourite Nathan. No, don't worry, it's not Nathan Oakley, it's Nathan Thompson. And for some strange reason, which will remain unknown by most, Nathan does not seem to know the difference between C and C.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry, Nathan, but I would suggest maybe sucking it up a little bit. There's a lot of people watching.
Sorry, I'm such a crybaby.
It's fine. You don't need to keep apologising. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I get on with this video?
Can't believe this could be the end.
I actually meant anything useful, but fine, whatever. So Craig asked me to illustrate the stupidest thing I have ever heard a flat earther saying. And this is what it was.
It's perfectly flat, that's why they call it sea level.
So not because sea level is the term used to define the base level for measuring depth and elevation on Earth then.
Level means free of bends, curves, or irregularities.
So it isn't a horizontal line with respect to the distance above or below any given point. Well, silly me. Now, we've all heard flat earthers saying water always seeks its level, and as much as it pains me to say it, they're kind of, sort of, right. But the big problem for flat earthers is they don't seem to know that there's a difference between level and flat. Now, the oceans of the world are one continuous body of water, and they seem to completely dismiss the fact that that sea level is affected by various factors. So winds, currents of the rivers that feed the oceans, variations in gravity, which obviously isn't a real thing anyway, is it? And the sea temperature, all of which prevent the sea from being truly level. But it is not just Nathan's grossly can something be grossly hilarious? But it isn't just Nathan's hilarious misunderstanding of the difference between the words flat and level that makes this one of the stupidest things I've ever heard a flat earther saying. It's the fact that he thinks that the oceans are called the sea because we can see a long way when we... No, honestly, I swear. Have a look.
You don't see curved, right? So when you see, you're seeing straight on. So it's kind of redundant to say sea level. That is kind of an oxymoron. It's the sea. That's why you can see so far.
My word, he's an idiot. And I'm going to leave you with a short story. So an architect has designed a building. And part of the building process was that they needed the floor to be perfectly leveled to facilitate the fitting of floor tile. So he calls in a builder. The builder says, I can level the floor for you for X number of dollars. So the architect signed off on the work order. The builder got on with his job. He rang the architect. Mate, you can come along now. The floor is perfectly level. So the architect turns up at the building site. The builder's standing there proud as punch. Look at that, he said, flat as a pancake. And he was right. The floor was perfectly flat. But just to verify his work, the architect decided to put a level on the floor to make sure it was right. And you've guessed it, it was perfectly flat, but it was not level. Because they don't mean the same thing. And the builder was forced to repair his mistake at a cost of $50,000. So I bet that builder is now completely clear about the difference between flat and level. So what do you think about that, Nathan?
I'm sorry guys, I'd say try using the auto-generated subtitles to understand what he was saying, but I don't think they'd be much use. Not even AI understands him. However, if you like, and, actually understood what Old Man Creaky was saying, then, like all of the amazing creators featured today, his link is in the description. The next incredible content creator is seriously? Him? I thought I was getting the best of the... I'm not having this. This is my episode 50. I'm FTFE. I'm bloody calling my agent. Hold on. Yeah, hello, NASA. Yeah, it's FTFE. Yeah, I thought you were getting me the best of the best for my special. Okay, so why did you get me fucking planner walk? Well, yeah, of course I want to get paid. Well, all right, then I'll do as I'm told. Yes, NASA. Sorry, NASA. Yes, I love you too, NASA. Up next is the incredible planner walk, I guess.
Ahoy ahoy, I'm Planner Walk, and FTFE asked me to cover the stupidest thing I've ever heard a flat earther say, which is very difficult, seeing as they all say such stupid shit. From that time that Anthony Riley said that your independent variable is no longer your independent variable if it produces a null result, to the time that Eric Dubé just pretended like the conservation of momentum just wasn't a thing. I actually think that that might have caused me permanent brain damage because I facepalmed myself so hard. Wait, could I sue Eric Dubé for that? But none of this compares to the time that FTFE was explaining refraction to Rad Vlad. You see, FTFE was showing Rad Vlad an example of refraction. In fact, he was showing him this example. This shows a laser being bent by refraction as it passes through a density gradient. Very simple stuff. But Rad Vlad had a couple of responses, like this one.
So
you wish they bent.
I'm literally showing you a picture of the laser bending right now. I'm literally showing you it. It's right there, right in front of you.
So you heard that right. His rebuttal to being shown a picture of a laser bending was that you wish they bent. But that's not the stupidest part.
Something's wrong with that laser, man, because they don't bend like that.
I'm sorry, we're going to be nominating Vlad for dumb fuck of the year now.
We lost him. We lost Craig.
Someone going to be putting in
So yes, he literally said that something is wrong with the laser because they don't bend like that. How could someone come up with something that stupid? Even I couldn't think of something that stupid. Or maybe that's because I'm thinking about it. But still, imagine being shown evidence of objects falling to the ground and then responding with, well, something's wrong with that object because objects don't fall to the ground like that. So yes, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard a flat earther say. There's not much to say about it because it really just speaks for itself. Anyway, back to you, FTFE.
Why are you pointing down? I'm over here. Bloody useless. If you want to sub to him, then I guess his link will be in the description. The next stupid thing that I want to show you is a really, really stupid thing that you have probably seen on my channel a few times. But its stupidity blows my brain out every time I hear it. It's also the incredible arrogance that is displayed by the one, the only, thank fuck, Sleeping Warrior.
A solar eclipse will happen every single month. And why? Because it takes 27 days, 27 point something days for the moon to orbit the Earth. So at some point it's going to cross the sun. And it does it every single month. Now I have no explanation for why it takes every 100 years for America to get one, because the law of probability dictates that it should be every few years, but we're being told it's once every 100 years. So there is a solar eclipse every month. The only problem is we don't see it because it's usually over the water. So you can bet me £1,000 because you're gonna have to come up with the reason for why it's not when the moon orbits the Earth once every month, you Burke. I bet you £1,000 solar eclipses happen every single month. The issue is we never see them because they're normally over the Earth, normally over the water.
It hurts. My brain actually gets sad when I hear him say that, and the confidence he displayed. And when I then asked him about it, he doubled down and said that he was right. I wonder why he deleted the channel that was posted on then. Anyway, Sleeping Warrior, you fucking idiot. Go to the remedial classroom. Okay class, welcome back to the special room once again. Settle down. What is it, Mr. Riley? You've put crayons up your nose and now you can't get them out. Why did you put crayons up your nose? Because they look tasty. That's not how you don't eat crayons. Never mind. This will probably go quicker without you. Just go to the nurse's office. Okay, so Mr. Riley tried to claim that there should be a solar eclipse every month because the moon orbits the Earth every month. It's a strange thing for a flat earther to claim, but whatever. This isn't the case, of course. Only an absolute idiot would think that because space, is 3D. The moon's orbit wobbles up and down, and that means that most of the time during its orbit, it won't actually be in between the sun and the Earth, which means that the moon's shadow will be either above or below the Earth instead of hitting it. Now, your homework. Everyone is to learn to tie your shoelaces. You're all grown fucking adults and shouldn't keep tripping over your shoes. Now get out. Did I stutter? I said get out. I hate you all. Next up is an actual physics teacher that happens to also be one of the funniest people on the planet. Yes, you fucking moron flat earthers, it's a planet, shut up. I think he's a person anyway. He might be a cat. More research is required.
So when I was asked what is the most ridiculous thing a flat earther has ever said to me, I felt spoilt for choice. Immediately my mind went back to the time when I asked Nathan Oakley what his favourite Christmas present would be.
It would be 3 girlfriends.
But then I thought I couldn't possibly use that. Not after Nathan Thompson once told me that he was doing a brain training program that actually made his feet grow.
So, man, my feet are getting bigger. I grew 4 shoe sizes since I've started this program.
But then I thought, no, I can't use that. Not after that flat earther actually confused the term fusion, as in nuclear fusion, with the word fizzy.
Well, if it's fusion, isn't that just bubbles of air in water?
But then, will any of that ever beat this?
Mass is identical to weight, but this weight is space weight.
Well, if anything could, it might just possibly be this.
If you were travelling from Scotland down to London on a ball, it would be downhill all the way. You wouldn't need to put any petrol in your car. You just use your brakes.
But in all honesty, after this week, I don't think I can use any of those arguments because just this week on Agree to Disagree, I had the most spectacular argument presented to me by a flat earther who was arguing for the existence of God. Now, the debate itself, does God exist, is not necessarily a ridiculous debate, and I think if it's done well with 2 articulate debaters, it can be quite interesting. But I was gobsmacked at just the sheer lack of evidence that this flat earther brought. Check this out.
God is an infinite consciousness. He can be physical and non-physical.
And the empirical evidence you're using to infer that from, just so I'm clear, and I'll pass you back to Leo, the empirical evidence you're inferring that from is that shapes exist.
Yeah, our vessels are objects.
But no,
because
I
we
just
have
wanted to clarify I was right with that.
So shapes exist, therefore God.
So there we go, but I suppose we all know if you're a flat earther, what's more important is the conclusion you draw, not the evidence you draw that conclusion from. But I think I'm going to have to go because I'm just feeling a little... sorry.
I should definitely keep that door open for fresh air.
Yeah, sorry are we, mate?
It's just disgusting.
Alright, I said sorry.
Get out of the house.
Alright, wasn't that bad. See you later.
Thanks for that, Cats. Find the link to his channel and his twin brother's channel in the description below. Next up is a man that needs no introductions, but, I'm gonna do it anyway. He took the debunking world by storm with his viral video on a gate-swinging flat earth scientist, and rumour has it had his legs replaced by prosthetics just so NASA could test their new Lego-based technology. It's Simon Dan, and this is the dumbest thing he has ever heard a Flerf say.
Thanks, Craig, for inviting me for your 50th episode, and I've chosen a very special moment from the now legendary Sleeping Warrior. If you'd completed primary school here in England, or maybe in year 7 in secondary school, you will know what an equilateral triangle is, which of course is a triangle with 3 equal sides. You would also have learned that the sum of the angles of the interior of a triangle adds up to 180 degrees. No problem there, or is there? For Sleeping Warrior, it appeared that it was a little bit harder than he first imagined.
Anthony, if a triangle has the sides 1 and 1, do you know what the angles of the triangle are?
Which kind of triangle are you on about? Are you on about like a right angle triangle?
If he'd have listened to the question, he should have known it was an equilateral.
The triangle has sides 1, 1, and 1. Do you know what the angles are?
The angles would be... Well, it would be an equilateral triangle, wouldn't it?
He finally gets it.
Right, so what are the angles? Now I'm going to ask this again. If you have a triangle with sides of 1, 1, and 1, what are the angles?
I'm gonna pull up a triangle calculator.
Yes, he went there.
Let's do this again. Anthony, a triangle has sides 1, 1, and 1. What are the angles? Is somebody recording this? Because this is just priceless.
Well, the one I'm using it's not giving me any when I do it. So either this calculator is wrong or you're wrong.
We have a triangle with sides of 1, 1, and what are the angles?
Yeah, so that's an equilateral triangle, right?
Right, so what are the angles?
Now, it should follow in Anthony's mind that if it is indeed an equilateral triangle, then all of the interior angles should be equal as well. And as the sum of the interior angles adds up to 180 degrees, then those three equal angles means that 180 divided by 3 equals 60 degrees. Will he get there?
Does that work on a right angle triangle?
The sides are 1, 1, and 1. What are the angles?
When is that ever used in astronomical calculations for measuring trig?
All bit of dodging.
I'm not going to tell you that until you answer my question. The triangle has sides...
It's not relevant. We use right angle triangles to calculate the distance things, correct?
We don't even need to use right angle triangles.
What you're describing only works with an equilateral.
Anthony, the fact that you can't answer these simple math questions, crap you, is ridiculous.
Exactly right. Now, you may have forgotten this about triangles, or you may have never learnt it, and that is absolutely fine. The reason why this is so bad is because Sleeping Warrior spends most of his time trying to tell us all that gravity isn't real, that space is fake, and the Earth is flat, and he can't even figure out the sum of the angles of an interior triangle. That, FTFE, is exactly why the Sleeping Warrior triangle hash-up is the dumbest thing I've ever seen a flat earther do. Thanks, buddy, and I'll see you all soon.
Thank you, Dan, for gracing me with your presence for this video. I'd suggest that you guys go and subscribe, but let's face it, we all know you already are. Next, I'm going to hand over to a fellow debater of stupidity, MC Toon. He holds regular debates on his channel with flat earthers and 5G crazies. He's got a very different style to me, but if you do enjoy my debates and videos, then you're absolutely going to love what he says. This is MC Toon. Wait, what? He's not a rapper? Oh, apparently it's Mucktoon, not MC Toon.
So, you're wondering, FTFE, what's the dumbest thing a flat earther has ever said to me? Dude, there's too many. I can't pick just one. There's like a 33-way tie for first. So how about I just pick one, right? So I'll go with when they say the Earth is observably and measurably flat. That's a stupid one. So that's great. So there's really two parts to this, right? The first is that it's observably flat. This is a qualitative claim. It looks flat, therefore it's flat. And if you're intentionally imprecise, you could say it looks flat, but only for select circumstances, you know, at low elevation and as long as you don't measure it. And, you know, it's best if you have a low resolution photo too. Like this priceless low res photo from Right the Hand. You can't distinguish the horizon. Then he drew a line over where the horizon sort of is and wrote flat AF. Wow, Right the Hand, so woke. So, and he misses the irony of the impossible shadow cast upward on the clouds. But that's a different topic. The problem for them is that even at low elevation, we don't expect to see a lot of curve, and our eyes are not precision measuring devices. But they have another little problem. The horizon must be observably flat all the time. Absolutely all the time, even at high elevation. If it's ever observably curved, even once, they've got some explaining to do. Their observations really fall apart when you use a rectilinear lens at high elevation, like flat earther Dwayne Kellum did from 120,000 feet. Or even better, when Mr. Sensible did it recently. But I'll leave those details to him. So the bigger fail for Flerfs is the measurably flat part. This is because they have never produced a measurement of flatness. I ask them all the time. They don't even know how they would go about measuring flatness. So why would they even make the claim? Well, because they heard someone else say it. You know, they're good little parrots. So a measurement is a quantitative claim. There are numbers in a measurement. Good measurements include units, significant digits, and a margin of error analysis. One way to measure flatness would be to measure the deviation from a horizontal plane. If the elevation or if the deviation was small enough, you know, within the margin of error, this would be a measurement. Have they ever done this? Never. Nope. Never. So there are measurements, though, of the spherical shape of the Earth. For example, this one by Jesse Kozlowski, where he measured the deviation from a horizontal plane over a level, calm lake. He measured this deviation at 0.15 feet deviation over a distance of 0.48 miles. Notice there are units of feet, 2 significant digits, and a margin of error analysis. The standard deviation, which is the margin of error analysis, is 0.01. You can look at the details yourself if you want. Just Google Jesse Kozlowski level lake. But that's not all. There are many measurements of the radius of the Earth. For example, here's the results of one titled The Figure of the Earth and Isostasy from Measurements in the United States. It was published in 1909. It measures the equatorial radius of the Earth to be 6,378,283 meters, plus or minus 34 meters. Notice there are units of meters, 7 significant digits, and a margin of error of 34 meters. You want more? There are more. So professional surveyors measure things using triangles often. When measuring triangles on a flat surface, the internal angles sum to 180 degrees. But on the surface of a sphere, the sum must be larger than 180 degrees. The amount over 180 degrees is called spherical excess. Just keep that in mind. So in 1913, a 577-mile long survey from the state of Washington down to California was performed. The measured triangles are part of the published work. There are 148 measured triangles detailed in the book. Every single triangle has a measured spherical excess. Let's look closely at this triangle, measured at Marysville, Butte, and Kent. Right, the spherical excess is 27.51 arc seconds. Notice there are units of arc seconds, 4 significant digits, and a margin of error analysis was negative 0.14 arc seconds. Since there's a measured spherical excess on every single triangle, we have measurements of non-flatness, right? The Earth absolutely cannot be flat. Do you want to do some spherical trigonometry yourself? Well, you can. You can actually get the radius of the Earth from these spherical triangle measurements. I've done this myself. I'm planning to do a video on it, and if you've subscribed to my channel, you can be the first to see it. If you want to look at these measurements yourself, I have them on my website and many others at mctoon.net/r. So, there you go, FTFE. The claim that the Earth is observably and measurably flat is an absolute joke. If you ever hear Flerf make this claim, just ask for measurements of flatness with units, significant digits, and a margin of error analysis. You will never get it. They will wet themselves running away as fast as they can to avoid that detail. Back to you, FTFE.
Like the rest, you can find McToon's link in the description. Next up is a man that Toon mentioned, Mr. Sensible. Mr. Sensible sent a probe to the edge of space and captured the curve of the Earth on camera. This has sent the Flerfs into absolute meltdown. Good effort, Mr. Sensible. Over to you.
Jah Rastafari.
What the bleeding hell are you doing? Multi-tom-tom. Tom-tom, you can stop that right now. Right, I'll stop it. Hold on. Now I'm going to stop it. Right, I think we'll give that up as a bad job. Back to the studio. Sorry about that, everyone. Multi Tom Tom, please don't do that again. Now, Multi Tom Tom is my favourite flat earther because he knows absolutely nothing. He doesn't understand how clouds work or how the sea can bend round the curve of the globe. But better than that, he makes predictions. This you've got to see. Roll VT.
This is the current President of the United States of America, Donald Trump. On 20th July 2019, it will be the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and I believe President Trump will announce on that day that the moon landings and the whole space program has been faked by NASA. Now, the point of this video is for all NASA fanboys to prepare for what is coming. When this announcement will be made, it's going to be shocking. So please do not panic. In fact, they say crying is good for the soul.
Ah, soul.
Do not commit suicide.
Get on with it. What is your prediction?
All you NASA fanboys understand the gravity of the situation and to make preparations. NASA will be decommissioned very soon. Thank you and take care.
Tom Tom, on the 22nd of February 2019, you predicted that on the 20th of July 2019, Trump would announce the moonshot was fake and he was closing NASA. It hasn't happened. That's the most pathetic excuse for a prediction I've ever heard of. And what's worse than being so stupid as to make a prediction like that, is leaving the video up. However, you have no fear, do you, Tom Tom? Which is why you issued a challenge to someone for a debate.
This is an open debate challenge to Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Dear sir, I am challenging you to an open debate on a platform of your choice.
Well, Tom Tom, I'd say that's quite ambitious. And Mr. Carl M said, Dunning-Kruger, at its finest. To which you responded, who's that? I will debate him too. Tom Tom, I'm a nice guy, so to be helpful I posted a message saying, do you want me to sort out so you can debate with Mr. Kruger? I can sort it for you. And you responded, he could be German. Well, I'm not sure, Tom Tom, but his English is fine. Where do you want the debate? Tom Tom, you really are an idiot who says the stupidest things. I've got to do something about him. I know. Hi, Dan.
Hello, mate. It's Dan.
I just said that. Didn't I just say that? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I'm just watching...
Look, never mind what you're watching, Dan. I'm having to deal with Multi Tom Tom, who says so many stupid things. And I thought it's time to put him up under a weather balloon and drop him from about 35,000 feet. Anyway, hydrogen gas is quite expensive and I'm a bit stony right now, and I thought, what with your channel doing okay recently, you could send me a flipping great wad of cash.
Oh yeah, it's somewhere on my desk. Hang on.
Yeah, thanks mate, if you can just send it to me. Oh, by the way, you know Nathan Oakley's been doing all those videos about you? Well, it's obvious he likes you, and I've set you up on a date. Cheers, mate. Well, I'm glad that's sorted. So, Tom Tom, we don't want to hear any more idiotic things from you. I'll tell you what, we'll give you a second chance. Why don't you sing us out, eh?
The earth is flat, the earth is flat. You know the earth is flat. Ain't got time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. But you believe in the lies of the Freemasonic Society. So the earth is a globe and it's spinning.
I would say thanks, Mr. Sensible, but after you introducing me to Multi Tom Tom's music, I don't want to. You guys can still subscribe to him if you like, and you'll find his link in the description. Now, one of the absolute dumbest flat earthers that I've ever met is Nathan Thompson, so I thought I'd try and think of the stupidest thing that Nathan Thompson has ever said or done. But I couldn't think of just one. So here's the top 5.
I'm here with a real NASA employee. Legit NASA employee. And I asked him, I said, astronauts have almost died in space. They got water in their suit and they almost drowned. And he said it was because of saliva. This guy right here, hold on, I'm gonna wait for him to get at the front of the line. And then I'm gonna ask him some more questions. There's a real NASA employee right here.
Just wanted to point out this badly shaven beard here. This is a weak beard game. It looks like a hairy toilet seat. If you do this with your beard, stop. I know why he's doing this. He wants to make it look like he has a stronger jawline than he has. And it doesn't even look like he has a jawline, judging from this angle. It looks like his neck is trying to eat his cheeks. And with the way his beard is shaven, it looks like armpits. If I didn't see his nose, I would be 100% convinced I'm looking at a close-up of an armpit.
Hey, my man, sir. Just the spacewalk. He won't talk to me. Sir. Look, he was all nice. He gave me NASA cartoon freaking emblems. Now he won't talk to me. He won't talk to me at all. Sir. Just tell him why they almost drowned in space. Please.
Have a nice day, okay?
Come on, you won't even chat with me?
Nope.
You hate Americans? Is that it?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
How the hell did you get that? Don't ever accuse me of that again.
Well, hey, I'm just curious. If you want to chat with me and answer my question.
I don't have to chat with you.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Step
true.
over there, okay? I'm done.
You're not the boss of me, bro. I'll leave because you asked me to. It's fine. But this NASA's a fraud, bro. All right. They lie about everything. That's cool. I was just trying to ask questions. Well, I just got kicked out of Starbucks for asking NASA employee questions because he's lying. He's a blatant liar. Hey guys, real quick. I got a flyer for you. Check it out.
No, I'm sorry, we can't.
I can't give him a flyer? Hey guys, check this out real quick. Space is fake. You're not on a spinning ball. They're gonna teach you, listen guys, they're gonna teach you you live on a spinning ball. That doesn't make it true. It's not real. The floor is not moving 1,000 miles an hour. Okay?
Hi.
I just wanted to know whose house I'm couch surfing at. Well, check this out. Here's my shower. It's got 8 shower heads, so this is what I'm using right now, all you broke globe bitches.
Wow, 8 shower heads.
All you broke globe fat ass stupid globe bitches.
Broke, but I have 4 Harley Davidsons, I have my own business, and I have my own mud truck.
Hey, let's see a shirtless selfie from your fat ass.
You're really proud of
Hey,
yourself,
Jose,
dude.
you think
I'm
that doesn't look
happy
good?
for you.
Does the Earth spin? Now, Craig will allege that there is some type of Coriolis force. So I want to look at the 2 ways a spinning Earth could affect our atmosphere. First, it would cause the atmosphere to rotate as a cohesive, synchronized body. It's not what Craig says. Craig says there would be a Coriolis effect, or it would cause it like a giant blender. The atmosphere would move separately from the rotating Earth.
Brilliant. You're probably thinking that these magnetic rays are very dangerous to be around. You would be correct. There is one material, however, that blocks these rays, which is rubber. That's why I've ordered 3 rubber duck costumes to prevent these rays from harming our bodies.
I just am worried mostly about Nathan because he's gonna want to look at the legitimacy of it. He needs to have a suit on.
He has to wear it. I'll wear it. No worries.
We needed rubbers. This has the. I do not feel any rubber in this. This is funny as hell. I think for the safety of like everything, every time you're entering the zone, maybe like a high-pitched like entrance. Entrance. Okay, stay away from this area. Yeah. I need to get my phone.
Thank you, Nathan, for being so dumb. It makes my job so much easier. What's that smell? Smells like maple syrup, desperation, and vanilla?
Hi, I'm Brainy Beaver.
And I'm coming to you from the channel that grips onto FTFE's coattails harder than a tourist on a hang glide through the Alps. And I guess if you asked me what the dumbest thing a flat earther has ever said to me, it would be anything that Nathan Thompson has ever uttered. And that time that Spurskimo told me that you can't breathe on the top of Mount Everest because it's cold up there. Like, if you go to the top of Mount Everest, you have less pressure on a gauge than if you were at the bottom of Mount Everest, right?
I disagree, but go ahead.
Can we agree?
I disagree.
Brainy,
no, you can't.
Right, Brainy,
This is what we're dealing with? Oh my God.
I need to cue in a bit more about Spurs. It's not that he disagrees with that there's pressure. He disagrees with atmospheric pressure. He says that is caused purely by differences in temperature.
But it doesn't matter. Okay, so what? You can't breathe cold air? That's bullshit. I live in Canada. Like, so why do they have air masks when they go to the top of Mount Everest?
Okay, so the idea is that these people who try to climb these mountains are not in the right condition. There was a guy in Europe somewhere, Wim Hof, where he's able to acclimatize his body to withstand these cold temperatures. So what he does, he trains in the cold water.
I live in Canada. It's colder than the top of Mount Everest, dude. And we all would die when we walk out our doors. Because you're telling me all Canadians are in shape then. All of us are in the perfect shape so we can go out in the dead of the winter. And there's people who live in the Arctic where it's even colder than where I live. And apparently they're all just perfectly in shape even though they've got diabetes and heart disease.
So this guy, I'm not sure if I'm probably butchering his name, but this Wim Hof guy, he's able to climb Mount Everest without an oxygen mask, in shorts, and do press-ups there in at the top somewhere. And other mountains, other high peaks where he's able to go there with others. He's trained other people to condition their body in such a way that they're able to withstand such harsh environments. Now, it's not that they couldn't breathe. It's not that they couldn't breathe. They could breathe just fine. In fact, he ran up the mountain.
And you know what? Before we get out of here, I wanted to get into the mind of a flat earther. So come on with me. Let's get into the magic school bus and go get into the mind of Nathan Thompson. That should be fun, eh? Come on, everybody.
Oh my god. It's so dark in here. There's no light. There's no light here at all. Oh my god. Oh my god.
And if I didn't mention that one time that Red Pill talked about the icy cold knife dagger or something.
This is causing deep
psychological reprogramming in the minds of the masses. This is inflicting a cold, icy knife dagger of terror inside of them.
All right, everybody, what we got for you today is a great deal. We have the icy cold knife dagger. Now, you want to talk about a good deal? We got this one low price of $299.99, and that gets you both an icy cold and a knife dagger. That is 4 words for the price of one, okay? Now, on other shopping networks, they may try to give you an icy dagger or a cold knife, but here on the Beaver's Cash and Grab, we will combine them all to get you the best deal possible. There's no need to have other products. There's no need for upsells. We got all 4 in the same place. Icy, cold, knife, dagger. You can't get anything more than that. What else would you want? Okay, now listen. This was crafted in Narnia by the famous knife dagger crafter, Igloo Seal Ball. If you know anything about Igloo Seal Ball, you know you gotta jump on this product now because it's only gonna go up in value. This is an introductory price. What? You know what? I'm being told, can I? Absolutely. I'm gonna knock another $100 off this. We're gonna go for, boom, there it is, $199.99. This is a limited time offer, everybody. Now, if you think I'm going down to $99.99, you are crazy. This is as low as this will get, and you get all of this genuine knife, dagger, cold, icy, everything. You get the whole package, okay? Now, you want to talk about efficiency? We're living in the apocalypse. You're with your friend Alex Jones. You're cutting up your neighbors. I don't judge. You do you. You hang out with who you hang out with. But the bottom line is, you're going to have to take this warm meat from your neighbors. You got to put it in your fridge. It burns up your fuel, uses that energy from your generator. This knife will literally chill the meat as you slice it. So you take that warm old neighbor, you cut him up, and afterwards you're like, what do I do with all this cold meat? It's chilling my hands. That's the kind of efficiency we're talking about with the cold, icy knife dagger, okay? Now please, pick up the phones. You got 1-800-BEAVER-GRAB. That's 287-4722. You got to get on the line. I see them lighting up. We have a limited number of these. Anyways, that's it for me today. Thank you very much for having me as usual, FTFE. And if you guys haven't checked out my channel, you should come see Brainy Beaver. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Brainy Beaver is amazing and you guys should definitely check him out. Wow, there we have it. The dumbest things Flat Earthers have ever said. I understand that was a lot of stupid and you may have harmed yourself by facepalming too much, and I am sorry about that. And I'm sure you understand that is all the stupid that I can take for today. But before we go, I want to give a massive thanks to my amazing channel members and patrons who make this channel possible. I am constantly blown away by the level of support from people. It's amazing. If you want to support this channel, you can hit the join button next to the subscribe button to become a member, or go to www.patreon.com/FTFE to become a patron. Once again, you amazing people, thank you. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, please hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss anything from FTFE. Why don't you go ahead and also do it for the amazing creators who helped me out today, and remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth. Fight the flat, 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 Hey, I'm FTFE, and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Scar did to Simba's dad.
Help me!
Long live the king.
If there's always one flat earther that we can count on to pump out the stupid, it's good old Sleeping Warrior. Anthony Riley is so stupid that he once said that if you switch off gravity, you can't hold the atmosphere to the Earth, therefore the globe model is false. No, I'm not kidding, watch.
And we know gravity's not a force. So what we'll do, we'll turn gravity off, because you can't have any gravity. And that's really what's really happening with our atmosphere on your model.
And he is back with more stupid. Let me be clear, this is a person who tricked his own audience into paying for him to submit a paper to a university to try and get Flat Earth forced into schools. I mean, he didn't, of course, it was all just a lie. He kind of just stole people's money. This is a man who is not only one of the dumbest life forms on Earth, but is also so dishonest that he has earned the nickname Lily. So I feel no remorse in pointing and laughing at the stupid things he's been saying recently for episode 51 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Thank you for joining me once again as we ask the question, who drank all the lead paint? Sleeping Warrior, the genius that gave us comedy such as not knowing the internal angles of an equilateral triangle and the harvest moon is 10 times the size of the normal moon. The man with such an incredible intellect that he confused French physicist Leon Foucault, the inventor of the Foucault's pendulum, with Michel Foucault, the philosopher and political activist, and then called us stupid. The man who literally can't stop being wrong about everything is back on the internet to continue to show us why he was the correct choice for Dumb Fuck of the Year 2019. And once again, he doesn't understand gravity. Ow, what the fuck? What does it mean? Asset will fucking NASA. Anyway, Sleeping Warrior, not understanding gravity once again in 3, 2, 1. Oh, look at that. That's all fancy.
Calypso gets it. This video is dedicated to Bob from Globebusters.
Oh, flat earthers arguing with each other. That's always fun. Lily and Bob.
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Lily and Bob have a big disagreement. Even though they both think the world is a magic flying pizza or something, they vehemently disagree on the nature of gravity and if a downward bias exists. Oh, and I'm really sorry about the lip-smacking noises from Sleepy Dum Dum. I think he might be trying to eat his microphone.
Recently, he asked a couple of questions in a chat, and they were sent to me, because it's me.
This can only go well. One flat earth idiot asking another flat earther.
Vince, apparently they prefer the word retard.
Eh? Oh, how very quaint.
Bob says, I have a question and I hope all of you can bring all of your collective brain power to answer this most difficult question. It would sure help me a lot. No problem, Bob, that's why we're here. This is a question specifically to those who do not believe that a downward acceleration, also known as gravity, exists, and that would be me.
Yeah, you don't think gravity's real, do you, Sleepy? You know what that makes you? A fucking idiot.
And instead believe that it's all about relative density equilibrium. Do you know what, Bob? At least you've dropped density buoyancy. Thank you, but capitals there, so then we know that you understand that it's a thing. Anyway, if I climb a ladder to 100 feet above the ground, I think it would be safe to say that the air or the atmosphere above me is less dense than where I am on the ladder and the air. Or, atmosphere below me is more dense than where I am on the ladder. Why, if I step off the ladder, will I fall down into the more dense medium instead of up into the less dense medium? If all is density equilibrium mediation, then shouldn't I fall up? Since there are those who claim that no downward acceleration, also known as gravity, exists, then we seem to have a small conundrum here.
Bob's right. Ugh, I feel dirty saying that a flat earther's right. But he is. If he climbs a really tall ladder, then the atmosphere below him would be more dense than the atmosphere at his level. So if he jumped off the ladder and it's all about density, then he should go to the less dense medium. But Comatose Warrior is a little confused. A lot confused. Look, he needs help combing his hair without scalping himself, okay?
So, here we have the density tower. And ordinarily, I would say, I'd normally wipe off all these labels and I would just put in relative numbers. And I could pick random numbers, as long as they're scaling in numerical order, because the order comes from the density of the medium. I would use normally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You've all seen me do it many times. I could use 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I could use 72, 73, 74. So long as the number's a scalar, there's your direction, and your magnitude comes from your relative mass relative to it.
Ah, yes, well, you see, in science, that's standard. You just use any old numbers. It doesn't matter what they are. No wonder you're renowned as the smartest person on flat Earth, Riley.
Okay, so Bob asks, why am I not falling up? Well, this is really relatively easy, Bob. And you've got to understand relativity. Not Einsteinian general relativity, just relativity generally speaking.
I mean, that's not what relativity means. Like, at all. But please, go on. There's nothing funnier than a dumb person trying to sound smart.
We do live in a relative world because we are that relative thing. Everything's relative to us. That's why when I shake your right hand, to me it's your left hand. I know to you it's your right hand, but to me, the way I see it, it's your left hand, because everything's relative. Directions are all relative to a human. There are no absolute directions.
Yet directions are decided by gravity. It's simple. Towards a centre of gravity is down, and away from a centre of gravity is up. Humans don't decide that. If I hung you upside down from a rope, oh, to dream. You couldn't then say that up was towards the ground because that's above your head. That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Now, density tower. I need something so that I can move. So here we have Bob, and we know by keeping these densities of these mediums, bear in mind that these are fluids. Normally I use these with like gases, or you can use gases or fluids. Fluids and gases and liquids, they're all treated as fluids. But we're going to keep them as liquids, liquids, because it works better for this demonstration.
So what you're saying is you're going to ignore the things that don't work and only use the things that you think up your batshit crazy assertions. That's called cherry picking. Why am I acting surprised? You're flat earthers.
Bob, we know, is density of Bob's mass is relative to water. It's a little bit more, a little bit less. It depends on his particular body style. A muscly guy is going to be more dense than the medium of water. A not muscly guy is going to be less dense. So we know that Bob is going to be water density. And we know that Bob's less dense than water because he's got less muscle.
That's a really roundabout way of calling Bob fat, Riley. That's mean.
So we know that Bob's relative position, he's going to sit in the middle here. Now, if Bob was to get a ladder and place his ladder I know there's no ground here, but imagine that's where the ground was so that he would have something to put the ladder on, and then lift himself out of that medium, he would go less dense into... his density would stay the same, but his density relative to the medium's getting less dense around him. If he jumps off the ladder, he's going to gently go back down to where he was, because that's where he came from.
Why? What's making him do that? Is there some kind of attractive force pulling him back to his density equilibrium? Where does that force come from? What makes Bob go back to the density that he came from?
Because he's in equilibrium. He's the density of the water. However, if we tie a rope to his legs and pull him downwards towards the more dense medium, or Bob Flerfs would say towards the centre of the earth...
Is this just your fantasy about killing Bob? Piley, you've got issues.
And then let go of the rope, he wouldn't fall down then, would he? He'd fall up. So when Bob asks, why is it that he is not falling up? The answer is twofold. It's one, because he's not a helium balloon, and it's two, because he's far more dense than the medium that he's in. Both statements are true.
Yes, they are. You know what else is true, out cold warrior? That you're dumb as fuck. What force made him move back up to his relative density? That would be the buoyant force, which includes a downward acceleration. But the question I've asked you over and over is why the layers in the density tower are even arranged that way. Why is the more dense mediums not sitting on top of the less dense mediums? What forces that arrangement bias? The answer is a downward acceleration. The downward acceleration caused by gravity. Look at this footage of a density tower being taken on a parabolic flight. These flights, otherwise known as a vomit comet, take a parabolic trajectory up and then sharply down into a freefall. As soon as the acceleration upwards stops, the people inside go into a freefall and experience weightlessness. This means that no downward acceleration is happening, and when the downward acceleration is gone, so is the arrangement of the density tower. Useless warrior, everything you say is happening depends on gravity. You're just too dumb to see it. You know, that's not the first time that flat earthers have argued with Bob. Check this out.
Guess what?
No, you're promoting bullshit.
Bob, you're a shill.
You're a shill.
If you're sitting here talking about giants are real based on the Bible, you're a fucking shill.
No, I'm not saying they're real.
You're trying to water down the flat earth movement, and I'm not going to let you.
Oh, good. Well, then you just stop me there, Curtis.
First of all,
you just stop me for sharing my opinion.
Then on top of that, you did that shitty ass documentary Behind the Curve that makes us look even more crazy.
Turns out Flerfs like arguing with each other. Here is another two Flerf dumbasses called Nathan Oakley and Wits It Gets It having a friendly conversation. You'll see much more about this next week with Brainy Beaver.
There is no downward bias. You've admitted it yourself. Gas expands equally in all directions. There's no bias. But yet you tell us it doesn't all go away. That's simultaneously holding 2 points of view at the same time, aka cognitive dissonance, you unbelievable clown.
Okay, I bet you can't answer this question though.
So maybe change the subject. So the gas isn't got a downward vector, and you want to ask me a new question like a fundy trying to obfuscate from their annihilation? Yeah, what a typical play. No, mate, no downward bias. I'd like a concession from you. Let's see how much humility you've got.
No, I don't have it. Dude, I never said gas went down, so I don't have...
Oh, so it doesn't have a downward vector bias then? So you're conceding your point that Bob's trained you with?
I'm conceding that everything... I knew this before, Bob, dude.
Okay, on to more stupid from a stupid person. Sleepy, over to you. Getting a headache.
Anyway, it's been 18 months since I did my test with the egg, and it stood the test of time.
Ah yes, your eggs experiment.
This is an egg. There is not a single baller that can challenge any part of this because they just don't like it. I demonstrated that if I manipulated the density of the medium, it caused an acceleration. The egg moved.
Yes, you manipulated one of the variables in the buoyancy equation. Well done.
Now, regardless of how you interpret it, the fact is that I did something and it caused something, right? And you can argue about exactly what it did and how it did it as much as you want.
We don't need to argue about it, Riley. We know why it happened. Your simplistic interpretation of physics is, I poured the salt in, therefore I made it move. Well, that's really fucking stupid and how a toddler thinks. Let's take another example and apply your thinking. I use my finger to press a light switch and my light comes on. So according to you, my finger is the cause of the light coming on. Well, I mean, kind of, but you're ignoring all the other things that are happening. What really happens? Well, my finger presses the light switch. That sends a wireless signal to my Philips hub. This connects to my Wi-Fi router to connect to the Philips Hue servers that then sends a signal back to my router, to my hub, to my light bulb to tell it to complete the circuit that allows the electricity to flow. That electricity current has come through miles and miles of cables after being generated at a power station somewhere, or, I don't know, maybe a wind farm. Did my finger cause all of that? Or was me using my finger just one of the things in a large number of things happening to get the effect we wanted? Just like you pouring salt in your experiment was just one part of what happened.
It doesn't matter. The point is that I caused it and it wasn't anything else causing it within scientific method.
Within scientific method? You can't even English, Riley. You mean within the scientific method. Please don't breed.
Now, I've only come across this today, but this is a fantastic video to demonstrate what actually happened. I do not have the skills to create these simulations, but I found this guy from somebody that was claiming to debunk me.
Oh God, you're about to completely misunderstand a scientific concept and then claim that it backs you up, aren't you? Hold on 2 seconds. Okay, carry on.
Don't listen too much to this guy because he thinks gas pressure. He thinks gas molecules follow curved trajectories because they're influenced by a general bias down, a bit like Bob does, but he thinks gas pressure does it too.
Yeah, don't listen to that guy when he says something that doesn't back me up, but when I misinterpret what he's on about and think that supports my narrative, then you have to listen to him. Riley, there wasn't a bus short enough for you, was there?
I did manipulate the density of the medium. I think most people accept that by putting in the mass, they accept that the density of the medium did increase. But then the egg moved. So most people don't like arguing that, or don't like accepting that mass caused something, because by increasing the density of the medium, current physics does not say that mass can cause anything. But if I change the mass of the volume but keep the volume the same, it isn't meant to cause an acceleration, because it's not, in current physics, it's not a force.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
What the actual fuck did you just say? Change the mass of the volume? Changing mass can't cause anything according to science? Are you fucking high? You've not got a clue what you're saying. In current physics, you increase a mass, you increase the weight. Changing the mass will do lots of things. Force equals mass times acceleration. Therefore, you change the mass, you increase the force. I know the nuances of Einsteinian gravity versus Newtonian gravity, and tying your shoelaces confuse you, lackluster warrior. And that's never going to stop being funny to me.
Also, there is no physical interaction. There is something that's happening here that requires us to talk about it.
And we have, you just don't listen. The answer is, Desert File?
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
And this visualization demonstrates exactly what my point is. My point is that as I increased the density of the medium, it caused pressure to increase against the sides of the container and on the underside of the egg, because we know that the salt's more dense than the medium. It added more gradient, more density to the gradient, and that basically pushed up the gradient, and the egg moving up took the egg up with it.
You keep saying gradient there, Riley.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
But this proves, without any complex maths, any complex notions of mass attracting mass that's not mass attracting mass anymore, any of that nonsense, it is just the changing of the mass of this circle or sphere in the middle. It is exactly what I did in my test.
Yeah, it's a good idea avoiding complex mass when you're around, isn't it, Piley?
5 divided by 0 is 5. In the real world. Enjoy.
Let's have a look at a related phenomenon, namely buoyancy.
Oh, so you lied again, Riley. You said he didn't once mention gravity. Well, buoyancy includes gravity. Now, you might have written relative density on the screen, but he said buoyancy.
Can our simple kinetic model maybe explain why some objects who have a lower density than the surrounding medium do not fall down like everything else does?
All solid objects in air are more dense than the air, guys. That's where this downwards bias perception comes from. This fact perceived by the human relative to the human only.
All solid objects are more dense than air, and that's where the downward bias perception comes from. Planes must really confuse you, huh?
But actually stay afloat or even rise in the medium. Here's another simulation with another empty sphere suspended in the middle of the gas volume.
And as we can see, it's a perfect exact match.
Not really, one's water and one's gas, but both will have a density gradient. And why is that again, Riley?
Gravity!
Oh yeah, that's right.
But this time the sphere can move freely. I assigned the sphere a mass such that its density matches the average density of the gas, which is why the sphere is suspended in the gas and neither falling nor rising. If you look closely, we can see that the sphere is indeed movable and is undergoing Brownian motion due to randomly being pushed by surrounding atoms. I can now reduce the sphere's mass by pressing a button, and in response, the sphere will rise towards the top of the container.
Yes, Riley, we all see where you've written that he doesn't say apply gravity, he says reduce mass, but again, F equals ma, change the mass, change the force. Simple. You know, very much like you.
Oh, that was beautiful. So he demonstrated just by changing the mass of the sphere, it caused an acceleration, right? But remember, current physics states that mass is not an acceleration.
No one has ever said mass is an acceleration, but they are linked. You change one, you change the other. You know what? I'm sure you're getting dumber, sleeping loser. Please just go to the remedial classroom. Okay, sit down, you window lickers. Sorry, I mean students. Today, again, we're going to explain the basics of buoyancy. Now, if we can just start without any Fuck's sake, what is it, Miss Thompson? Everyone's being mean to you? Well, how? Everyone keeps deleting your stuff. I'm sure you're just exaggerating. Well, yeah, they did delete your Facebook group, but that's because... Yeah, I suppose they did delete your YouTube channel, but you see, there is rule. Well, yes, they also did delete your new Facebook group. You're correct, but it seems you didn't learn from the first group getting deleted and kept posting. Well, yes, I'm aware that your new YouTube channel has 2 strikes, yes, and your Instagram is on the verge of being deleted. Miss Thompson, there is only one thing that you need to think about all of this. Well, that's that it's all fucking hilarious and you absolutely deserve it. Now sit down and shut up, you muppet. Anyway, Mr. Riley and his experiment. Mr. Riley thinks that by adding salt to a glass and making the egg move up, he's performed some kind of voodoo magic or something. Well, no, all Mr. Riley, who, let's not forget, was officially voted the dumbest fuck of 2019, is just showing that he is ignorant and never does the homework that I set. Buoyancy is a thing. The equation for the buoyant force is rho GV, where rho is the density of the fluid, v is the volume of the fluid, and g is the downward acceleration due to gravity. When Sleeping Dipshit, I'm sorry, that's unprofessional of me. When Mr. Sleeping Dipshit added salt to the water in his playing at being a scientist, he increased the density of the fluid. This changed the variable rho in the buoyancy equation and increased the buoyant force being applied to the egg in the opposite direction to gravity. Everything with a higher density than the egg was pulled down with more force due to a higher mass. This created a pressure on the bottom of the egg that we call the buoyant force. But this all depends on there being a downward bias, an acceleration towards the ground. Now, I fully expect none of you were able to understand any of that, so your homework is to practice going outside without, wearing a crash helmet. Now, please get the fuck out of my classroom, you dregs of humanity. Right, okay, as it's the first Flerfs Idiots of 2021, I'm going to push it and do a 3rd video. Ready? Here we go. Oh, thanks, science, it worked. No, don't watch that 3rd video. You've no idea how bad things get if you do. Who the fuck are you? I'm you from the future? Aw, I get fat in the future. What? No, you idiot. I'm you from like 3 hours in the future. Huh? Oh, shit. Look, anyway, I know what I'm doing. Just piss off, all right? Don't say I didn't warn you. What a dick. I mean, what's going to happen? It's not like anything bad could happen from watching too much stupid, is there? Is there?
So, this is from a blurther conspiratorial website called flatearth.ws. This is a propaganda website and it teaches people nonsense.
And by nonsense, he means things that destroy his fantasy of a frisbee world. Flatearth.ws is a brilliant site dedicated to debunking the Flerf stupidity in an easy to understand way.
It's saying in this, I'll have to zoom in a little bit, so if I pull it over here, there we go. I want to ask for blurthers to explain to me a problem that I have, because I'm a dumb flat earther and I don't understand science.
Sorry, Riley, could you just say that again, please?
I'm a dumb flat earther and I don't understand science.
Oh, go on. Just once more.
I'm a dumb flat earther, and I don't understand science.
Well, I'll be using that soundbite lots. Cheers, Riley.
So I'm going to ask you guys a question that I expect some answers to, because I'm going to claim a debunk to this nonsense here.
And I'm sure it's going to be fucking hilarious.
Unless somebody can explain it using the explanation that is provided here. It says, an object falls down because of Earth's gravitational attraction. Well, we know gravitational attraction doesn't exist because it was replaced in 1915 by Einstein.
No, it wasn't, you absolute train wreck of a human being. Einstein explained and refined Newton's observations. You're never going to understand this simple fact, but that's the thing about facts. They stay facts whether your dumbass can understand them or not.
It's the curvature of space-time caused by the uneven distribution of mass. But anyway, I know they got to go back to old-style history, historical science to explain their nonsense, but they think that the Earth attracts matter, right? Even though my egg went the opposite way.
Say it with me, dumb fuck of the year 2019. FB equals rho GV.
Anyway, I digress. But some denominations of flat Earth claim that an object falls down due to its density, not gravity. No, that's a false representation of the position, due to its relative density. Not density alone, relative density. So, by putting two objects of an equal density and a different mass against each other using a balance, it is easy to see that an object's density is not the reason it falls down.
Correct. Clearly density, or even your magic relative density, does not explain this. Only one thing does, and you're not going to like it because it's gravity.
Now, what this is trying to demonstrate is that although the two densities are side by side on a balance bar basically outbalance each other, they're not balanced. The claim is that relative density or density is not the cause. And I can understand why, because it's obviously the amount of mass that's in there.
Wait, was there a sliver of understanding there? An inkling that you get that more mass means more weight, that weight is a force because of the acceleration due to gravity acting on a mass?
But scales don't take into account volume, because if you were to... Basically, relative density is to the medium that you're in.
No, there wasn't any understanding there. Why am I even acting fucking surprised?
It's not to this is not a representation of relative density, because you've got one density here, you've got the same density there, but you're balancing them in a torsion over a balance thing that is not a representation of relative density. This is a representation of relative mass.
So did relative density just stop working?
This is not density, because density is mass over volume, and they're claiming that it's a different level of mass, but the same. Well, I don't quite see how this is the same, because the amount of mass per volume here and the amount of mass per volume there is the same in density's sake, but you're not doing them relative to each other. They've got to be relative to each other, not contrasted with each other.
Yeah, Sleepy, your debunk of this isn't going very well, is it?
So this is essentially a misrepresentation, because it isn't demonstrating relative density. It's demonstrating relative mass, because scales don't take into consideration the volume in any way. For this to be an accurate representation, of course, you would have to get 2 litres of one object, 1 litre of another object of the same thing, put them in a container of some kind of sealed container, and then submerge them in some kind of medium to see whether or not there is a difference between the two.
Submerge them in some kind of medium? What the fuck do you think air is? Oh, my head. Ow.
Here's the key bit for the Flerfs. If you think that this debunks the claim that relative density explains away gravity, then I'd like you to tell me what would happen in the following situation. On one side of the balance scale, we have 5 eggs, and I use eggs again because I'm going to show you why in a minute. So on this side, we've got 5 eggs. They can be farm eggs, they can be battery eggs, doesn't matter what eggs they are, just eggs. And on the other side, we're just going to put 1 egg. Now, on this balance bar, 1 egg on one side is going to go up in the air, 5 eggs down here is going to go down towards the ground, because the mass of the 5 eggs is greater than the mass of here.
Well done, you've just proved gravity and explained it perfectly, but you've no idea you did that, have you?
But no account for volume is taken into consideration, and there is no relative state here, because they're using the mass. There's no volume involved. This is all done in the medium of air. Flerfs, what would be the position if I changed the medium of air with the 5 eggs on one side and the 1 egg on the other, and I made it a saline solution, and it was I'll cherry pick it so that it matches the average density of 1 egg and the average density of 5 eggs.
You're going to cherry pick? You, Anthony, Sleeping Warrior Riley, is going to cherry pick? Well, I never. Hell must have froze over.
What? Now we're good.
I'm going to assert that it balances these scales because we know that 5 eggs, relative balance, the relative density of 5 eggs is equal to the relative density of 1 egg because they're the same. So, if you guys think that mass is the reason why these scales are distorted, like we're unbalanced, how would you answer the question if there were 5 eggs on one side and 1 egg on the other side, and they then balanced in brine water? How would you address that in mass?
So you're going to ignore the fact that more mass means more weight and unbalance the scale in the medium of air? Brush over the obvious example of gravitational acceleration and cherry pick an example that you think backs you up? Okay, I need to learn you a thing. Back to the classroom quickly. Okay, so you've got M equals mass of each egg, and V is the average volume of each egg. Rho is the density of the medium the eggs are in, and G is the downward acceleration due to gravity. This means the force on the left side of the scale is 5 mg minus the buoyant force of each egg, 5 rho GV. So 5 mg minus 5 rho GV. The force on the right side of the scale is mg minus the buoyant force of 1 egg, rho GV, so mg minus rho GV. Then you calculate the overall or net force, which will be left side minus right side, F. So F equals 5 mg minus 5 rho GV minus mg plus rho GV. And then F equals 4 mg minus 4 rho GV. So F equals 4g, m minus rho v. This shows that in all mediums, i.e. air, that have a lower density than the egg, the left side, F, will always be positive. But if the density is equal to one of the eggs, then there is going to be a net sum of 0 force on either side of the scale, meaning they will balance out. If the density is higher than that of the egg, the scales will actually flip the other way and have the 5 eggs at the top, as there will be 5 times more buoyant force. That was pointless, wasn't it? They'll never understand any of that.
Because according to your explanation here, mass is the reason why these are wonky. So therefore, if I change the density of the medium, it should stay the same because mass is double on one side or 5 times bigger on one side, and it shouldn't balance out. But Flerfs absolutely realise what's going to happen, because your 5 eggs are going to become the same as the 1 egg, because relatively dense to each other, they are the same to the medium, relative to the medium. So these scales are going to balance, aren't they?
Oh my god, too much stupid. Ah! See? I told you. Oh wait, no, his head's exploded. Oh shit.
Warning. Warning. Activating FTFE flow 33. Stand by.
And that's all the stupid...
But he's still got the identification marker on his forehead. Action!
And that's all the stupid that I can take for today. But before we go, I want to give a massive thanks to all my patrons and channel members who allow me to keep this channel running full time. There is a special section in the Discord just for you guys, and you can get Patreon and members only merch for free if you're a top level supporter. If you'd like to become part of the FTFE team, then become a member by clicking the join button next to the subscribe button, or becoming a patron at patreon.com/FTFE. And thank you. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss anything from FTFE. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that buries stupidity in the concrete foundations of the Library of Knowledge. Flat Earthers, they don't like giving evidence. In fact, their biggest defense at the moment is saying that they don't have to give evidence because they don't have the burden of proof, claiming that all the science, the experiments, the measurements and body of facts that we have are null and void. And why do they say that all of this science as we know it is null and void? Well, usually because flat earthers are thick as fuck and haven't the slightest clue about the things that they claim to be able to debunk. The flat earther today is...
can I be in there?
He's a special breed of stupid.
Let me be in this one. Guys, tell him to let me in.
He hides his stupid and tasty word salad.
I want to be in this one, guys.
He's really ignorant of physics. Flat Earth can't ever provide evidence, so
let me in.
All they do is display their ignorance of the globe, and that's what I'm going to cover today as we take... Fine, Brainy, okay? Fine, you can be in this fucking episode. Just shut up.
Ah, yes. Okay, thank you. Give me a second. Give me.
So I guess me and Brainy Beaver will be covering the dipshit of the week who calls himself Wits It Gets It for episode 52 of Flerfs Are Idiots. I swear to God, Brainy, if you ever interrupt me again when I'm recording.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
And thank you for joining me once again as we take a look inside the mind of someone that is capable of thinking that the Earth is flat. What the hell? Oh, where's the NASA implant sent me now? Hello? Is anyone there? Brainy? Cats? Simon Dan? Anyone? Hello? Oh, I'm back. Thanks, Sagan. I've been in the mind of a flat earther for years. It was so empty and cold. Right, where was I? Austin Whitsitt, that's right. So Word Salad Whitsitt. The smartest thing he ever did was come up with the best insult about me being a big old fatty that I've ever heard when he called me Fight the Tight Shirt. Fucking hilarious and pretty witty. Unfortunately, nothing else smart has ever passed his lips. Let's have a listen to him say a bunch of stupid stuff, shall we?
So, here's the deal. Axial rotation has never been substantiated. They tell us that we're spinning around 1,040 miles per hour east, but it's never been substantiated.
I mean, yeah, it's never been substantiated if you ignore all the evidence, I agree. Evidence like this.
If the Earth is spinning at one rotation every 24 hours, that means that every hour it has to turn 15 degrees. And if the gyroscope is mounted anywhere on Earth, it's going to drift. In today's 21st century navigation systems, they're using what's called a ring laser gyroscope. It is extremely precise. If we could simply get one of these ring laser gyroscopes, we would be able to prove once and for all that there is no rotation to the Earth. One of the people in the community actually purchased one for $20,000. But what we found is when we turned on that gyroscope, we found that we were picking up a drift, a 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Thanks, Bob. And also, as evidence that you don't know what the fuck you're actually talking about, you just said that we're spinning to the east at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. Well, here's the thing, that anybody who understands even the slightest bit of physics knows that that sentence doesn't make sense. You don't measure rotational speed in miles per hour. That's dumb. You measure rotational speed in RPM, or degrees per unit of time. Like...
a 15-degree-per-hour drift.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Bob. You can shut up now. But just for you, Whitsitt, as you're obviously a little slow after years at the back of the bus, here is a direct comparison of something rotating at the same speed as the Earth. Better hold the fuck on, Whitsitt. Don't want the centrifugal acceleration of 0.034 meters per second squared to fling you off into outer space. Or maybe I do.
Globe Earth is up Foucault's pendulum. It doesn't have an independent frame of reference. It isn't consistent, it has a window of error, and it doesn't correlate cause and effect. Science is the correlation of cause and effect. So what that means is you have an observable phenomena that is the effect.
So much wrong in such a short amount of time. A pendulum's bob, or weight, is a freely moving object when swinging back and forth. That means that it's in a different reference frame to the rest of the rotating Earth because it is freely moving. And I'm gonna need a citation that the observable phenomenon has to be the effect or dependent variable in an experiment. You can't just make up your own science, you dipshit.
Okay, you have to correlate the cause to the effect, which means you have to have an independent variable that is manipulated so that it differentiates the effect. And then you can validate that that is the cause. Okay, that's what the actual scientific method is. Yeah, you have the dependent variable, the effect, the observable phenomena. You have an independent variable that you manipulate to validate the effects. Okay, to validate that it is the cause of the effect. It's very simple. The globe Earth doesn't do this ever at all. So there's literally not one single piece of scientific evidence for the globe Earth.
The globe Earth never does this. Well, either you're lying or you've got a brain injury. What is and isn't science is determined by its adherence to the scientific method, which breaks down to 5 easy steps. 1. An observation in the natural world. 2. Create a hypothesis for the observation. A hypothesis is an educated guess and can be whatever you want. 3. Make a prediction based upon your hypothesis. 4. Design an experiment to test your prediction. An experiment must have a control variable which isn't changed by the experiment to compare to, an independent variable which must be manipulated by the experimenter and is the presumed cause, and a dependent variable which is what will be changed by the manipulation of the independent variable and is measured and is considered the effect. And then 5. Analyze your data. If your hypothesis is confirmed, then you've got a scientific theory. And if your hypothesis is invalidated, you reassess your hypothesis, make adjustments, and start again. Science is trial and error. And when we globe earthers do experiments, we follow that method. For instance, this particular version of Foucault's pendulum done by the gentleman physicist. Step 1, an observation. The stars in the sky rotate around 2 different points depending on your location relative to the equator. All of the stars move at 15 degrees per hour. Step 2, a hypothesis. I hypothesize that my observation suggests we are on a rotating body that is spinning at 15 degrees per hour. Step 3, prediction. To form a prediction, I must make an assumption. So if we are rotating at 15 degrees per hour, the freely swinging bob of a pendulum will drift 360 degrees at the poles and will not drift at all if placed at the equator. The amount of drift per time will allow us to calculate our latitude if the Earth is a rotating globe. Step 4. Design an experiment to test the prediction. The gentleman physicist did just that. He created a large, freely swinging pendulum and let it swing for 0.688 hours and measured the drift. Step 5. Analyze. Based on the data the gentleman physicist gathered during the experiment, he was able to calculate his latitude to within a margin of error of 1 degree. This confirmed the prediction and hypothesis. So there you have it, Witsit, an experiment that disproves your assumption that globe earthers don't follow the scientific method. And destroys your complete and utter misunderstanding of how a pendulum works. What else have you got? Yeah, flat earthers have never gotten... Hold on a sec. Yeah, hold on. All right. Oh, it's Brainy. He says, oh, is it my go yet? Oh, and another message from Brainy. Can I go now? And another one. Is it my turn on screen? And another one. Hello, FTFE. Can I go? And another one. It says, please let me go now. I want to go. Please let me be on screen. I'm not desperate, honest. Look, all right. Here's Brainy Beaver.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brainy Beaver, and my channel is the place you come to if you want that sweet smell of vanilla and desperation required for a tiny, innocent animal to just struggle to keep up with FTFE.
Look, I told you I was sorry. It really was an accident.
Yeah. Well, I guess I can buy that, sir. But it is a shame. Poor little guy. Probably kept up with you for a mile or so. Tough little mutt. Yeah.
So come with me and give me emotional support while we take a look at Witsit, because there is not enough money in my world to buy the cocaine required to keep up with his meandering thought processes.
This dude was involved around some stuff. It clearly does appear, right? The details are pretty hard to keep up with if you're lying for the course of years. But he doesn't fully understand what's going on. Again, he just pointed out that they call themselves demons, and they say that their seed comes from Lucifer or whatever. But really, that's not what's going on. It must have come from dinosaurs, because he's just like, these people are psychopaths. There's no way that this is real. They are literally Luciferians, and if you are in this chat, you probably do know it's very real. Yeshua's real. Lucifer's real. Lucifer's a title. The ultimate Lucifer is Gadriel, the serpent that fell. Okay, so it's very real. They consider themselves Luciferians. This is the process of getting to full enlightenment of understanding of the metaphysical, transmutation, alchemy of oneself, etc., etc.
Okay, where to start unpacking that? I guess we'll just kind of start from the top.
Guys, look, I get it. It sounds crazy. Also, you're talking about clones. What are you talking about? I'm not claiming that I can scientifically validate even the viability of cloning. I actually don't think that by force someone could be cloned or anything like that. I can't come get your simple.
Witsit, you got to slow down, buddy. Witsit, you got to.
But whenever you leave yourself vulnerable in the astral metaphysical realm because you're not protected by Yeshua and you're a little special boy, you can do whatever you want to, and you take a whole bunch of drugs and you sink in depravity and degeneracy and you're constantly trying to astral project.
You got to slow down. Slow down. We're going to have to talk about these things as you talk.
I know things are real in your dream states, and that's what's been pumped down your throat. Dreams. Are dreams real? I wonder what's going on in the dreams. What's the Matrix tell you about the dreams? There's something very real to the metaphysical.
You got to stay on a subject, buddy. We got to stay on a topic.
There's no other viable option to explain observable phenomena without the metaphysical field around you. So what is there? What's
right? You know, fine. You know what? I got this for this occasion. You know what? Just. Look away, children.
Born a giant that was 2/3 God. There was some type of, manufacturing that caused this to happen. So this seems to just be there's nothing new under the sun. And something could happen, and maybe you guys don't know. They said they could clone a sheep, and they think that you're sheep, and that's why they're laughing. We told you that we can clone you guys, and you didn't even understand it.
I know, right? I know. I keep telling them about the lizard people. Tell them about the lizard people. It's good shit.
Coined the phrase atomic bombs and loosed them on helpless civilian populations. He said his vision of a nuclear war between England and Germany in the impossibly distant future of the 1950s. In 1933, the
sodomite
physicist Leo Szilard was contemplating becoming a biologist.
It was between that and a life of sodomy as he soaked in his bubble bath of femininity.
That was fun, wasn't it? But now that my desk is covered in icing sugar and I've shown everybody what it's like to listen to your rambling and try to pick out little things, we could push forward. First thing I want to mention, you're an idiot. Pointing out his femininity because he sat in a bubble bath. Dude, it's like 1930. In fact, I checked the year. It's 31, 32, 33, something like that. You'd have to double check. I'm not going to do it right now, but it's the 30s. Well, I'm going to tell you, guess what? Showers never even became popularized until the late 30s. So somebody sitting in a bath was how they cleaned their stank ass. But you probably don't know much about that since you look like you're hobo hour in it. Oh, it's it coming in hot with a 1-2 right off with his historical knowledge of what it required to clean a stank ass in the 30s. This is gonna be fun.
He read Wells's novel, and it started him thinking.
Szilard knew that atoms are made of protons and neutrons on the inside.
Which are actually pseudoscientific fairy tales. The materialistic or physical nature of anything beyond the subatomic scale cannot be verified in any scientifically verifiable manner whatsoever. In fact, the electron is nothing more than the terminal end of one unit line of dielectric induction. All we are seeing is reactions within the field on the quote-unquote quantum scale. You cannot actually in any way validate some type of materialistic claim. It is just pseudoscience. The photon's nothing more than a dielectric pulse, it appears, and the electron's nothing more than the terminal end of one unit line of dielectric induction.
What a magnificent pile of word salad, Whitsitt. Where do the electrons come from then, if it's just the terminal end of a dielectric pulse? Do the electrons just flow through the fucking copper like water through a hose? Technically, they kind of do, but I'm going to show you how.
The flow of electrons is what forms an electric current. If we look inside a piece of a copper wire, there are atoms that easily exchange electrons. These electrons are able to move from one atom to another in any direction. If we make a closed circuit by connecting the copper wire with a power source, like a battery, then the voltage will make the electrons to move in the same direction, from one terminal of the battery to the other, or from the negative to the positive of the power source. If we add a light bulb to the closed circuit, the electrons will have to pass through it in order to get to the other terminal, thus producing the light.
This is where Whitsitt goes, aha, that's what I said though. But no, that doesn't make sense, Whitsitt, because if it's just the terminal end of blah, 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 then you need to explain how an insulator works, because we have a fundamental understanding of what makes something an insulator and something a conductor, and it's based on how many electrons are in the valence shell, which basically adds to its stability. When you have a very unstable valence shell, especially if you have one stray one just kicking around in a circle out there, then it's very easy for another atom, similar to like orbits and planets, which you also don't believe in, that's fine, to kick one of those electrons off and like pull it over to another one. Hence, conductors and insulators.
Some materials in this shell have loosely bound electrons, which allows them to flow from one atom to another. These moving electrons are called free electrons. How easy it is for an electron to move around depends on the material. Materials can be either conductors or insulators. Materials that are conductors, like most metals, allows free electrons to move freely throughout the solid, while insulators, like plastic or glass, limit the movement of the electrons, holding them tightly.
Nikola Tesla, in fact, said that he disintegrated atoms with millions of volts and nothing ever happened. When he first did it, he told all of his assistants, numerous people that are touted to be quote-unquote scientists say that there's going to be an explosion when I do this, just a heads up. Of course, they knew that he was not an idiot, so they didn't sleep, nothing happened. He did it numerous times. Fast forward, we now have a pseudoscientific fairy tale of fear coming from one single Grabler author from World War II about dropping nuclear bombs. I digress.
So, question for you there, Whitsitt. What do you think they mean when they say splitting an atom? Because he can hit an atom with as much electricity as he wants. And besides, maybe they did say there would be an explosion. Perhaps they were also wrong. That doesn't mean anything. It just means that they weren't right. But it also doesn't mean that he did what was needed to cause an explosion. Because that's not what we mean by splitting an atom. I mean, we got Whitsitt over here swinging a knife around.
Hey, take that. And that. Oh, I'm cutting atoms, fuck. Cutting atoms, fuck.
Sorry, Whitsitt, that's not what they mean by splitting an atom. Splitting an atom is a chemical/physics reaction involving neutrons.
On this scale, we can see actual atoms and neutrons. Neutrons are the particles that help us unlock all that energy from the nucleus. But they move fast, so first we need to slow one down. And to do that, we simply use water. Let's follow this one and see where it leads us. Pay close attention. Firing this neutron into the nucleus of the atom causes the nucleus to split in two. This is the fission we mentioned earlier. And as the nucleus splits, it releases its own neutrons. Some of these newly released neutrons, slowed by the water, hit other atoms, causing more fission. And so the chain reaction begins.
Now, when they talk about using water to slow it down, this is actually from a power plant. So, of course, they do things a little differently. They don't want as rapid of a reaction because kaboom! They needed to slow down a little bit. So that's where the heavy water pools come in to slow the neutrons. They actually absorb it. You can actually find out a lot of information about that watching Thunderfoot with regards to Chernobyl. There's a lot of good information there. But anyways, did anybody see Whitsitt and Nathan Thompson on their very, very, beautiful little thing where Nathan explained to Whitsitt like 2 times what a lie is? Because, of course, you have to explain to people that don't understand shit what things are, just so you don't get too much confusion, right? things get wild. But did you see put the music behind it? It was like a Sick Kids kind of thing, right? Or one of those like Wish Foundation ads.
But I gotta be honest with y'all. I've been lying to you. Yeah.
Witsit, yeah, he was an interesting case. I remember the little guy hiding at the back there. He's always so curious, you know?
Also, you know what we were just talking about? And he's like, have you loaded up the freaking van yet? Like, I'm like, no, not at all. When you leave it? I'm like, how cool would it be, bro, if we never had to, like, even load the van up? Like, we just had the RV here. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be like the coolest freaking thing ever.
Yeah, it was a wild adventure with Witsit. You know, we've been done a lot of special children, but Witsit was a little different. I mean, we had to keep it a close... Hey, Witsit, we've talked about this. Get your hands out of your pants. No, the girls don't want to see that with Witsit. Witsit, you put it away. No, Witsit. Okay, I gotta deal with this. Just keep... I'll be back. Just give me a second, guys.
But I gotta be honest with y'all. I've been lying to you. Yeah. Hardcore. Lying, right? Most people define lying as like not telling the truth, right? But lying is also when you know something and you don't tell someone what's actually going on, right?
We thought it was better to explain to Witsit what a lie was. We were awfully concerned we wouldn't understand what a lie was, and we'd already had that incident with him flinging shit at the walls, and frankly, we couldn't afford that again. There was a whole fallout with HR, and there's going to be insurance payouts. There's some sexual harassment that occurred a little while ago. Anyways.
What? We're gonna do the whole thing. We're gonna do the whole thing in the RV. He drove all the way out here from California. Wow, dude. That's incredible. So we're gonna hang out with him tomorrow, class, and clean up. But like, I didn't lie to you.
It's these happy endings. That's why I got into this, you know. Seeing the smile on Witsit's face, he was telling us the whole time how he wanted to hang his head out the window, let the air rush along his tongue. Also, we got him a Captain Underpants impersonator. He was pretty thrilled about that. So it was a big day for him. It was a big day. All right, now, before I get going, I think we need to talk about the relationship between Oakley and Witsit, or, I don't know, the separation. But before I... But what? What's that? What is this? Is this for me?
Flat Earth Debate
live.
I'm your host, Nathan Oakley.
What am I supposed to do with these? It didn't come with anything. Oh, there's a note in here. Moisture activated testicle invitation. To activate invitation and get Discord link to stream, simply hold testicles above head and caress gently with tongue. Fuck. Apparently I have to suck his nuts to get into the stream.
The elastic velocity or elastic energy of gas is way, 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 way stronger than electrostatics. It's just my point here, at least I can only speak for me, right? My point is the electrostatics is always at play because everything that has any matter is electrostatic, and the Earth is also electrostatic and actually negative, and that's why we have lightning, et cetera, et cetera. So you can't just say it's not part of the equation. That would be dishonest. But at the same time, almost impossible to validate. You can't get outside of the Earth.
What is this? What are you on about? What is this electrostatic non sequitur? The fact that we have to constantly look at this stuff to experience it or describe it or have pens to write it down is totally non sequitur.
Well, it's just that, the Earth's negatively charged, and anything that falls to the Earth is electrostatic.
Well, like a balloon?
Yeah, the balloon.
Does that fall to the ground, Witsit?
No, of course.
Well, then shut up! You dumb...
Doesn't mean there's not a natural bias, though.
A bias? What, for the balloon? How many times do you want to do this? Are you all morons?
Ad hom.
Sorry, are you a moron? Is the balloon going down, Witsit?
Yes, we are.
Is the balloon biased downwards?
Are you serious, bro? That's how you're gonna
Shut up, Nathan. I'm talking to Witsit.
Well, what I'm saying is, you see, the bias is so incredibly weak that
So it's not a bias down! What bias? The downward one the balloon's not experiencing? Third time, Witsit!
Yeah, they're right. The gas isn't going to go down.
So there is not a downward bias!
Well, you would...
No, not well! There's no downward bias, you clown! You've just admitted it! Why are you in cognitive dissonance over this, Witsit?
Your hand wave dismissing the electrostatics, dude.
What, the non sequitur fallacy you introduced that I immediately demolished as a non sequitur fallacy?
Wait, how's it non sequitur? I thought that was the whole
So the balloon goes down? Sorry, the electrostatics make the balloon go down, or is this non sequitur?
The electrostatics are way weaker, right?
Are they making the balloon go down? Are you deaf?
No,
So non sequitur then!
Nathan, you're going to give yourself an answer.
Nathan, shut up. I'm not going to ask you again. I'm going to absolutely teabag Witsit for his dumb fuckery. So this electrostatic is not giving the balloon a downward bias, is it?
No.
No! That's right, Witsit, you clown! So what are you babbling about?
Because once again, you just whistle past this.
You just stutter for me like the rest of the fundies with their belief in gravity. There is not a downward bias, clown.
Okay, but yeah.
Okay! Now enjoy the taste of my nuts, you flat earth fundy. There's no downward bias.
Dismissing your hand.
Dismiss what? The electrostatics that make the balloon go down? You're going to do it third time in a row, you circle-jerking fundy?
Claimed it made it go down.
It doesn't go down, you idiot. Are you thick?
One claimed it did. That's a straw.
Oh, right. I'm claiming a downward bias of the balloon and no one's claiming it. You are. You stuttering, double-speaking, cognitive dissonance-laden fundy.
Matters inherent. Every compilation of matter is inherently electrostatic.
And that's got anything to do with the balloon going down? Fourth time circle jerking this shit in a row?
I never said the balloon went down.
It doesn't go down! Are you dumb?
It does, dude.
Oh, it does? Oh, balloons go down, go boom with a single vector of downward, do they? As gas doesn't have one, does it?
Assuming anything.
Oh, you're assuming gas go down, go boom, my friend.
Is he hurt? Electrostatic?
Sorry, electrostatics non sequiturs making gas go down, go boom now, is it? Sorry. Stupid shit. Gas go down, go boom. Gas go down, go boom. Gas go down, go boom. Gas go down, go boom.
Is he hurt? Electrostatic?
Sorry, electrostatics non sequiturs making gas go down, go boom now, is it? Stupid shit.
You keep saying non sequitur, but you're...
so gas is going down, go boom, or is this non sequitur?
Sequitur.
Yeah, it's non sequitur if gas is not going down, go boom. Is gas going down, go boom?
No one claims that gas goes down, go boom.
You do, you claim there's a bias downwards, you stupid shit.
I'm sorry for sitting back and just letting you take that whole thing, but you know what? There isn't much to say about it. Oakley's a piece of shit. And Witsit, Nathan, why do you even go on his channel? You should just do like the rest of us and just ignore him. The only reason we occasionally step foot in that zone is to poke the bear through the cage. Thanks for having me, FTFE. And if you haven't checked out my channel, everybody, give it a check out. And also maybe give that Mr. Pascal Marks a little bit of love for that great Oakley's, balloon go down, go boom boom, balloon go down, go boom boom. I was ready to pull out the glow sticks. You're lucky. I was gonna get the donut boxers and glow sticks, and I was just gonna rage. Get the out of here. Have a good night, everybody. See you later. Thanks for having me. Bye bye.
And thanks for that, Brainy. This video isn't getting monetized, is it? That was a lot of stupid you just covered, so frankly that's all the stupid that I can take for today. But before I go, I want to say a massive, massive thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Without your support, I could not focus full-time on the channel and bring you the awesome Flerf-busting content that you love. As a member or patron, there is a special room just for you guys in the Discord, and top-level patrons and members can contact me for some free merch. To join the team, head to patreon.com/FTFE or click the join button next to the subscribe button. And thank you. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss anything from FTFE. A massive thanks to Brainy Beaver for getting this particular video demonetized, and if you'd like to subscribe to him, then just hit that button up there. And remember, stupidity's not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat.
Hey, I'm FTFE and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Thor did to Thanos.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly. What did you do?
Today's subject of stupidity is someone who holds the record for the number of Flerfs Are Idiots episodes directed towards them, because they honestly say more dumb things than anybody else on the entire planet. There was episode 6 where he didn't understand how cameras worked and mistook a tree for a building. Episode 19 where he thought that eggs were magic. Episode 42 where he thought moonlight defied the second law of thermodynamics. Episode 43 where he thought that you could just turn off gravity. Episode 34 where he thought the Titanic sinking was a scientific experiment. Episode 35 where he nominated himself for Dumb Fuck of the Year 2019. Episode 45 where he failed to debunk a physics teacher, you know, because he's dumb as fuck. And episode 51 where he got really confused by some more eggs. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's Sleeping Warrior. He spewed some more stupid onto the internet, and we're going to point and laugh at his complete ineptitude for episode 53 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Thanks for joining me once again as we learn what happens when the brain fails to develop in the womb but somehow a child is still born. Anthony, Sleeping Warrior Riley...
I'm a dumb flat earther.
Yeah, that guy. Somehow manages to get himself dressed in the morning without killing himself and scrape together the mental power required to vomit a humanity IQ lowering load of idiocy onto the internet. This time he gets confused by planes. And the earth rotating. And tying his shoelaces.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Thanks for joining me once again as we learn what happens when the brain fails to develop in the womb but somehow a child is still born. Anthony, Sleeping Warrior Riley...
I'm a dumb flat earther.
Yeah, that guy. Somehow manages to get himself dressed in the morning without killing himself and scrape together the mental power required to vomit a humanity IQ lowering load of idiocy onto the internet. This time he gets confused by planes. And tying his shoelaces.
This is a video about Coriolis effect. It's one of those confusing topics that Blurthers deliberately obfuscate to make it sound confusing. They want you to be confused by the end of the conversation so that you don't really know and you default back to, oh well, maybe the Earth is turning because I didn't understand that.
So the problem is it's confusing to you. You don't understand it, so claim it's complicated when we try to explain it. And why might that be?
I'm a dumb flat earther.
Oh yeah, you did say.
It's very, very simple. On screen I've put on the west and the east to indicate the direction of rotation, and we are told that the Earth rotates from the west to the east because the sun rises in the east and it sets in the west, therefore the Earth is rotating from the west to the east, and that's the way you can see it on screen.
I just want everyone to take a moment to realise that him putting east and west on the correct sides of the screen might be the first thing he ever got right. I'm pretty sure that isn't going to continue though.
As you can imagine, planes flying over the Earth are meant to be suffering the effects of Earth rotation underneath them. That is the claim of the Coriolis effect.
And there it is. I actually think this video might contain too much stupid for me to deal with on my own. I'm going to need to call in some help. Oh, hey, Cats.
Oh, mate, how you doing? You okay?
I'm doing good, thanks, mate. Could you have a look at something for me?
Yeah, I can do that. I can watch, so you want me to watch a video by, who is it?
You know, Sleeping Warrior.
Did he just say, never call me again?
Cats? Hello? I think I'll just have to do this on my own.
The Coriolis effect is the apparent deflection caused by the Earth rotating underneath the plane.
No, it isn't. Nothing about the Coriolis says that the Earth should deflect underneath the plane as it's travelling through the atmosphere. You know, the atmosphere. The thing it uses to create lift. The thing that is also rotating with the Earth. Just because your simplistic view of the Coriolis Force is, thing leave ground, Earth turn under, doesn't mean it's even remotely correct. Just means that you're a fucking idiot.
Now, Wolfie6020 doesn't know. He doesn't tell people that the Earth doesn't show this. He tells people that you wouldn't expect to see Earth rotation, and everybody else on the Blurther side believes that that's the position. They think that explaining why you don't see apparent deflection explains away why Earth-based Coriolis isn't a thing.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
First off, no one on the side of sanity and reality says that the Earth-based Coriolis isn't a thing. In fact, it's one of the best evidence of Earth's rotation. Unfortunately, you window-licking morons haven't a clue what Coriolis actually is. Unlike Wolfie6020, of course, who is an actual pilot.
Obviously, that is incorrect. Earth has got to rotate underneath the planes, otherwise we're not expected to see Coriolis effect. It doesn't apply to Earth.
I mean, you keep saying the word Coriolis.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Now, here we see a demonstration with the planes flying over the Earth whilst the Earth is in motion. And as you can see, as we get to the Pacific Ocean to demonstrate the point, we're going to pick on Hawaii somewhere in the middle, and you can see the planes that are flying towards Hawaii. Hawaii is coming towards the plane as well, so they're flying towards Hawaii, but Hawaii is coming towards the plane. That's significantly quicker than if you're flying towards Hawaii from the other side, because you're chasing Hawaii, and you're not going against the Earth rotation, you're fighting the Earth rotation because you're trying to catch it up.
So, what you're saying is you haven't a clue how planes work? Like at all? So, according to you, if the Earth is rotating and we stood next to a wall and jumped, if we're at the equator, we should expect to slam into that wall at 1,000 miles an hour. Under the same logic, if I was inside a plane that is moving and I get up to use the bathroom, I'm going to slam into the back wall of that plane at 500 miles an hour, and all the air stewards are superhumans. Well, considering we know that the world is rotating and there is a lack of people-shaped ketchup stains on walls all over the world, we can only conclude that you, Sleeping Warrior, have some kind of brain injury.
So it's obvious the position. The position is if the Earth is rotating the way we're told, flights towards the east must be longer. Flights towards the west must be shorter.
And your IQ must be negative. Look at this video of the guy on a trampoline being pulled by a tractor. Does the guy just stay where he is and the tractor shoot off underneath him at 30 miles an hour? No, because conservation of momentum is a thing. The main thing that impacts the speed of travel times east and west is the trade winds. Depending on if the plane is travelling in the easterlies or the westerlies, it will affect the time taken to travel. The winds between 30 and 60 degrees latitude travel from west to east, so will increase flight times to the west, and in equatorial regions you have the easterlies, otherwise known as the trade winds, that go from east to west and make air travel to the east slower. These effects are all due to the Earth's rotation and are predicted effects.
Because the Earth is supposed to be turning underneath the plane. If they argue that the conservation of momentum means that they can negate the expectation of Earth-based Coriolis, then there is no Coriolis effect. We've got to see that apparent deflection. Okay? It's very simple. They'll use every weaseling wiggling book, every weaseling tactic in the book to try and demonstrate why we do not see.
But we do expect to see Earth-based Coriolis. And we do see it, just, not in the way that you expect to see it, because you don't know what Coriolis is and your intellectual capacity is so low I doubt you'll ever learn what it is. But, let's try. Off you go, numbnuts. The remedial classroom awaits. Okay, everyone, sit down and stop talking. In fact, I would really like it if none of you ever talk to... Oh, fuck's sake, what? What do you want? You're right, there is some people missing. Let's do a roll call. Flat Earth Aussie Jesus, Mind of God, Quantum Eraser. Huey, pay attention and take those crayons out of your mouth. No, I don't care if you're hungry. Sleeping Warrior. Yeah, of course you're here, you're always here. Mr. Ranty's doing a special project with Professor Cat, so he isn't here. Miss Thompson? Miss Thompson? No, Miss Thompson? Miss Thompson's clone? No. Does anybody know where Thompson and Whitsitt are? What do you mean they're doing a countrywide holiday? During a pandemic? Without any masks? Well, they're screwed because you can bet they're using flat Earth maps. Alright, let's just get on with this, shall we? What is the Coriolis effect? Well, it's not the Earth rotating underneath something, like a flat earther would want you to believe. The Coriolis effect is caused by the fact the Earth is rotating, and it imparts certain effects on objects that are freely moving. Here is an example. Someone at the equator fires a mortar shell north. At the point the mortar shell was fired, the shell had a tangential speed to the east of around 1,000 miles an hour. Same as everything else at the equator, including the atmosphere. As the shell travels north, it moves over an area of the Earth that has a slower tangential velocity than the point it left from. The shell, however, due to the law of conservation of momentum, maintains its 1,000 miles an hour to the east whilst moving over an area with a lower tangential velocity. This means that the shell will deflect ahead of the rotation. This means that there's been acceleration to the east acting on a mass, so we can calculate the Coriolis force. The important thing is that the shell was moving on a rotating sphere. It won't happen if something just hovers, so a hot air balloon and a drone will rotate with the Earth and not experience any Coriolis. Now, is an airplane subject to these forces? Well, yes, of course. Whether flying north to south or vice versa, which would apply a force moving the plane ahead or behind of the rotation, or east to west or west to east, where a force would be applied towards or away from the sky. But the thing is, the force is tiny, and airplanes have massive fucking engines that negate that comparatively small force. Why do you all have such blank faces? Oh yeah, you're all fucking idiots. Get out! I hate my life.
Now what I'm going to present to you is a back and forth that happened live on a Discord server debate thing that was being rebroadcast on YouTube. And this happens time and time again. I see it many, many times. It's only 10 clips. Without further ado, let's progress.
Demonstrable proof of Earth's rotation. Orlando to Manchester is 7 hours and 50 minutes, and the return, Manchester to Orlando, is 9 hours 25 minutes.
And can I just check, which way does Earth rotate? East to west or west to east?
East. And that is all Coriolis is.
So Earth is rotating to the west, then?
What the guy you were talking to was on about was the fact that we have trade winds, which, on the flights he mentioned, make flying to the east slower. Due to the Hadley cell, winds in these regions flow towards the equator and towards the west, and while the winds in the latitudes above them go east and towards the poles, again because of the Earth's rotation. Ignorance of facts is not evidence against them, Riley.
Flight time is faster east and with the rotation than against it.
It should be slower when flying east, as you are chasing the Earth turn. Oops, haha.
No, Riley, you don't chase the countries if you're travelling east, because the atmosphere that the plane is using also travels to the east at the same speed as the country that you think you are chasing. Helicopters and hot air balloons could just hover and wait for the Earth to turn underneath it, and the destination would arrive like waiting for a train at a station. But that's not how it works. At all. You're a fucking idiot.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Okay, quick recap. His last comment said, because to wrap this all up, all flights east and with the rotation of the Earth is faster, yet we can clearly see that if the Earth is rotating from the west to the east and flights are heading west, it's going to be faster, and east it's going to be slower because of Earth rotation.
Well, in this case, both of you were wrong. He was wrong because flight times depend on where they are flying, in the easterlies or the westerlies. And you, Sleeping Warrior, are wrong because the Earth doesn't magically rotate underneath us as soon as we leave the fucking ground.
No, when you're chasing the destination or heading east, it must take longer if Earth is turning with you. Your example was quicker though. You have it the wrong direction for Earth turn, buddy. You have the eastbound flight faster when it should be slower if Earth is turning under the plane.
Sleepy, we can see that you've written haha. You really don't need to say it. We aren't all as dumb as you are.
So as we can see again, just to make the position really clear, it's really easy to jump on the bandwagon and take a piss out of this guy. But let's just be clear, all the flights that we can chase around the Earth, none of them support the Earth rotating from the west to the east. Because as you can see, as you're flying towards Hawaii, Hawaii is coming towards you. And as you're flying, if you're going from America, but if you're going from Japan, you're chasing Hawaii. You're chasing it, so it has to take longer.
No, you colossal dumbass. You don't chase countries. They aren't running away from you. Earth turns. It's been measured. Don't be a fucking idiot. So Riley's been destroyed again, and frankly that's all the stupid that I can take for today. Now, just before I go, I would like to give a massive shout out to all my members and patrons. Your support allows me to do what I love to do, debunking idiots on the internet. If you'd like to join the team, then you can become a patron at patreon.com/FTFE, or hit the join button down there next to the subscribe button to become a member. All patrons and members get access to the patron and member only Discord, and top level supporters can contact me for some free merch. And thank you. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss anything from FTFE. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat,
Hey, I'm FTFE, and welcome back to the channel that does to stupidity what Kevin McAllister did to Harry and Marv.
Hotel, Airbnb.
Like the pictures.
In the past few weeks, not one but 3 missions to Mars achieved a massive success of actually arriving at the Red Planet. First, on the 9th of February, the UAE Hope Mars mission entered orbit of our closest interplanetary neighbour, ready to study the Martian atmosphere. Then, a day later, the Chinese mission Taiwan 1 arrived at Mars and entered a successful orbit, and is now starting preparations for sending their own rover to the surface. But then, on the 18th of February, the new NASA rover Perseverance set down on the surface of a different planet than it was constructed on, and recorded the whole thing in 4K, and sent the Flat Earth Crayon Munching Brigade into absolute meltdown. Let's laugh and point at Flat Earthers freaking out over the new Mars rover for episode 54 of Flerfs Are Idiots.
We're living on a disk, floating through space, with a tiny sun.
Thank you for joining me once again as we take a look at people so stupid that when they get out of bed on the wrong side, they fall out of the fucking window. It's an absolutely amazing time to be alive. Missions planning a manned base on the moon are underway. Civilian spaceflight is happening, and more interest and investigation is being done on the red planet Mars. Well, it's an amazing time to be alive, unless you're a flat earther.
Vince, apparently they prefer the word retard.
Eh? Oh, how very quaint.
Because if licking windows is one of your main hobbies, then understanding that space is real and that we have a new rover on the surface of Mars is going to be a little tricky. Let's take a look at the flat earth butthurt that the Perseverance rover has caused.
Mars Perseverance, which launched in July 2020, cost $2.4 billion to build and launch, and will cost another $300 million to land and operate during its first year on Mars. So let's have a look what's got the press and the kids in the control room worked up into a frenzy.
Oh no, it's Level Earth Observer. Leo is the living embodiment of everything I don't like is fake. This will be fucking painful.
Now the sad thing is about all these shots when the control rooms at NASA, they are literally photo shoots, taking advantage of naive kids who work here, who get worked up into a frenzy because their ego's involved over some data that comes in on a screen.
Kids? What kids?
So let's have a look at these young, innocent, naive kids being taken advantage of, as we are literally viewing a photo shoot of naive kids getting worked up over data on a screen.
Kids, are you looking at the same video as me? This dude's bold. Look, she clearly isn't a kid. This guy is grey as a silver fox. What kids are you talking about, you dipshit?
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance.
Sad, really, when you can see it for what it is. It's quite sad. Just innocent, naive nerds being taken advantage of.
Oh, by nerd you mean someone who has just been part of a mission to land a multi-billion-dollar rover on another fucking planet? Of course they are all excited. You were, and clearly still are, the dumb jock that bullied the smarter kids, aren't you?
Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the signs of past life. At this point, the descent stage has flown away to a safe distance. Perseverance.
Sad, really, when you can see it for what it is. It's quite sad. Just innocent, naive nerds being taken advantage of. And literally, you can see in there loads of cameramen, people taking pictures and filming it for records to come to try and solidify this charade that is heliocentric space.
So you're complaining that there were people there recording this historic moment? What the actual fuck? If there was no one there recording it or taking photos and everyone was just told that the team was very excited and cheered from the control room, you would scream bloody murder about the fact that there are no pictures being taken and we're just supposed to believe it. Level Earth Observer, you're a fucking idiot.
Propulsion backpack as it is being lowered to the surface of Mars. You can see the dust kicked up by the rover's engines. We're probably about 2 meters or so above the surface of Mars. We're still checking the timing of this image. It's just hot off the presses. You can see the mechanical bridles that hold the rover underneath the descent stage. There's 3 straight lines heading down to the top deck. And then the curly electrical umbilical.
Matey boy, you make this about as exciting as a trip to the morgue. You're not feeling it, and neither am I. You're not convincing, and neither's the image on the screen. Even if it is real, it's hardly scientific. It's not blowing me away. It might get the kids in the control room worked up, but dear oh dear.
Right, so because you're not convinced it's fake, because the guy isn't excited enough for you, it's fake. It's not blowing you away, therefore it's fake. And again, there were not kids in the control room. Personal incredulity is not evidence against something.
This image was acquired by the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO, one of our orbiters.
And then you'll get served up this. Some Mars orbiter takes a picture of this. And what's that top right? It's supposed to be the craft coming in with a parachute. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable, well, for you maybe, but that's because you have the IQ of a particularly dumb toenail fungus.
If you look just below to the little circle that you see on the screen, this was our eventual touchdown point.
Yeah, right. I'm sure it was, me old mate. I'm sorry. Again, not convincing. Ridiculous amount of money. Naive kids in the control room being taken advantage of. Images that I could produce for ridiculously low cost.
So just more personal incredulity. Well, here's the thing, Level Earth dumbass. NASA don't care if you think it's real. They aren't doing it for you. And the claim that you can make these images yourself on a low cost. 2 things. 1, I doubt you can tie your own shoelaces, let alone make a convincing image of Mars. And 2, just because you can fake something doesn't mean that these images that are actually from Mars are fake.
Stories being made up left, right and centre that can't be verified. This is like the perfect fraud, isn't it?
Like I said earlier, this wasn't the only mission to Mars recently. The fact that there is other craft there, sent by different countries and different agencies, does verify that they went there. I mean, you can claim that they're all lying, but that would make you a moron.
Now we have our somewhat lower resolution, but...
Please tell me, what is scientific about these pictures, these stories? What is scientific about that? How does this help people suffering right now as a result of what's going on?
Well, humanity's scientific knowledge is what put this rover on Mars, Leo. There is nothing necessarily scientific about these photos, but they will help the team of scientists plan their next move and check the landing area, etc. And as for helping people, well, we've only got 1 planet, but this rover might help us on the road to having 2. And that's going to be good for our entire species, although I do question if you are actually the same species as me.
Do we get anything that would even resemble something that would be classed as science? I mean, I would have thought filming coming in HD footage would be classed as scientific.
Well, you heard it here, guys. Some HD footage would be scientific. Apparently the resolution of the video is what dictates what science is, not following the scientific method. Someone should really tell Riley.
I'm a dumb flat earther, and I don't understand science.
Aw, bless. Yeah, we know you are, mate. But HD footage of the landing you want, is it?
So one of the amazing things about these cameras is they're actually...
There it is, guys. This is the image we've been waiting for. The most scientific image I've ever come across in the heliocentric pantomime picture book. The track, the wheel of the Mars lander. This is the one we've been waiting for. This answers all the questions and the mysteries of heliocentric space.
You do realise this is pictures from the engineering cameras. Cameras designed to let the engineers know the state of the rover. No, of course, you're a fucking flat earther, and all flat earthers are thick as shit. Now, that wasn't the last video that Ricky Retardo here released about the rover. This next one was titled The Mars Rover Fights Back.
Wow, it would seem someone at NASA's got a fetish for taking pictures of fucking wheels. Not very scientific. And no amount of violin or attempt with emotional music is going to get me to buy into this wheel fetish. This picture book wheel fetish of a Mars rover lander.
You dumb fuck. It literally says on the screen, that is the front right hazard avoidance camera. It's looking at the wheels for a specific reason, so that when it's driving around it can avoid, you know, hazards. Why am I explaining this to a full-grown adult? Alright, I need to move away from Level Earth Observer. That much denial is actually dangerous to be around. Within hours, there were countless videos from Flat Earth numpties trying to say that the Perseverance rover is fake. Here's a quick one from the channel NASA is Fake. Really original name there, bud.
The Perseverance rover landing is fake. Here's why. 1. The images are fake. The photos are fake because they are from Earth, not Mars. If you look closely at the image, it looks like Earth. They made it show no colors so it doesn't show the blue sky.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
It's fake because it looks like it's from Earth and it's in black and white. This is not only one of the engineering cameras, but it's with the lens cap still on. There is plenty of colour photos and videos.
2. If Mars really exists, why can't we see it in the sky? When I look up into the night sky, I couldn't find Mars at all. I even use a telescope.
Are you trying to say there is no pictures of Mars in the sky from Earth? Interesting. Okay, over to one of the worst Flat Earth channels in the world. It used to be a little bit better when Ranty Flat Earth was running it, but Ranty has left the Flat Earth scene to start a new channel with conspiracy cats. Do you like spooky stories? Tales of the strange and unexplained? Then head on over to the new channel and podcast by Conspiracy Cats and Ranty. Almost Unbelievable. Ghost stories, UFOs, other dimensions, and a special story from me about a crazy unexplained experience from my childhood. Subscribe to Almost Unbelievable. Anyway, since Ranty left his channel to Brandon Toy, it's gone downhill big time. The amount of derp on the channel has actually increased exponentially, and Brandon will be getting his own episode of Flerfs Are Idiots. But let's take a little look at his objection to the Perseverance rover from his community page. I want to take a moment and thank NASA for all their hard work. Everything from the conception, the planning, the building, the sending and the landing, and all the hundreds and millions of dollars invested in the materials to make such an epic journey happen and achieve longevity. Without this advanced technology, we would never have made it to Mars. Lastly, to the technician who put plastic zip ties all over the lander, I just want to say an epic out-of-the-box thinking to make such a bold move. The very notion that those ties could withstand that hostile environment and keep the lander chugging along on its merry way there is something I think you should be applauded for. Who would have thought that a lander was saved by some good old plastic zip ties? Yeah, because NASA just nipped down to the local hardware store and grabbed a few zip ties. Maybe zip ties are a good idea for this design, and maybe, I don't know, just maybe they aren't your standard everyday zip tie. In fact, a 20-second Google search discovered these are in fact a specialised high-performance tie wrap cables made of ethylene tetrafluoroethylene resin. FTFE is a melt-processable copolymer tested for physical durability and resistance to chemicals, UV, extreme temperatures, and 2,000 times more radiation than the nylon used in standard cable ties, able to withstand the rigours of space and planetary exploration. 20 seconds, Brandon. 20 seconds of research and you could have not looked like an idiot, but then who would we have to laugh at? Oh yeah, the other Flat Earth idiots, like Flatzoid FE, a Flat Earth disciple of their Lord and Master Nathan Oakley. Let's take a look at him not understanding anything, shall we?
The story of the Mars landings are fake, is what presented to us about Mars real? Did someone really land a rover on Mars?
No, the Mars landing isn't fake. Yes, what's presented to us is real, and no, there's not just one rover, there's now 5 rovers on Mars, and you're a fucking idiot.
If you believe it's true, then this is for you. Let's start with, can we even get to Mars?
Yes, we just discussed this. There is 5 rovers on Mars.
Mars is said to be in space as a terraformer sphere rock. Mars is said to be in a super low pressure system known as the vacuum of space. It is said to have an atmosphere surrounding it like Earth. This is the first red flag. Atmo always requires containment.
But there is containment of the atmosphere. Both Earth and Mars, the atmosphere is being contained by a magical dome. Nah, I'm kidding. The containment is dealt with by...
Gravity, you fucking retard! Gravity! Have you ever heard of fucking gravity? Gravity! Gravity!
Flatzoid, it's time for you to join the band of crayon munchers that occupy the remedial classroom.
Okay, hello students, please take your seats and quiet down. I'm your substitute teacher, Mrs. Fight. I'm going to be covering for your normal teacher while he is on leave for a while. He had a tiny little mental breakdown and was found naked in the fetal position in a McDonald's car park, mumbling, "They're getting dumber. Oh God, they're getting dumber." And needs some time off to recover. I'm sure we're going to get along fine. You look like a smart bunch of people eager to learn. Okay, what are we doing today? Let me check my notes and see what we have to cover. What's that, Mr. Riley, is it? No, we're not doing music. Yes, I know I said notes, but... Oh, yes, you do use notes in music notation, but I meant that... Well, no, I'm not trying to change the definition of the word notes. I'm just saying that I need to check what I've written. No, I don't need to see the dictionary you've got. It's fine. Can we just... please? Okay, so it looks like I'm to cover how the atmosphere is contained by gravity. Oh, that's an easy one. Shouldn't take us more than a few minutes. Okay, let's start. The atmosphere as a container. What's that, Mr. Riley? Define container. Do we really need to do that? No, I don't need to see your dictionary. Pretty sure everyone knows what container means, right? Right, so as we all know, gravity creates a force that... What is it, Mr. Riley? Einstein's gravity or Newton's gravity? That's not really the point. Gravity causes an acceleration of mass towards the ground. What now, Mr. Riley? You want me to define mass because you think it's undefinable? What does that even mean? Mr. Riley, can you please just be quiet and let me explain? We know via experimentation that mass attracts mass because of gravity and... What, Mr. Riley? What? What is it? I'm sorry. I mean, yes, Mr. Riley. You want me to describe the experiment that demonstrates mass attracting mass? Well, that's not what today's lesson is about. If you could just let me get to the point, please. Okay, the atmosphere is accelerated toward the Earth because Earth has a large mass that distorts space-time and Mars does the same. Yes, Mr. Riley. No, I can't show you a picture of space-time. What the fuck? Look, gravity holds the atmosphere to Earth and Mars. Gravity is the container because of the acceleration downward that needs to be overcome. Oh, you all shut the fuck up. Right, fuck this. They can get someone else to cover. I'm not dealing with stupid this intense. I quit.
And that is all the stupid that I can take for today. But just before I go, I want to say a massive thank you to all my patrons and members. I could not continue doing what I love to do if it wasn't for the support from you amazingly generous people. Everyone that becomes a member or patron can access a special room in my Discord, and top level members and patrons can contact me for some free merch. If you'd like to join the team, then head to patreon.com/FTFE or become a member by clicking the join button down by the subscribe button. And thank you. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell so you never miss anything from FTFE. And remember, stupidity is not a right. Fight the flat earth.
Fight the flat, 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 fight the flat.